at the Prairie View Cricket Complex in Prairie View, Texas. I'm Peter Della Pennant, and I'll be joined by Brian Walters for the beginning of the final day's play, where the USA Invitational 11 will be taking on a Major League Cricket Composite 11 in a T20 fixture. And a short while ago, Nikhil Chandani was out in the middle for the toss. Let's see what happened.
Final day of this Houston Challenge. It's T20 time. We've got the captains from the team, David White, and of course, Mona Patel, and of course, our umpire, Martin Imamdar. Mona's got the coin. Coin goes up. Heads is the call.
Heads it is.
And heads it is. David, you've won the toss. So
The ball again.
So looking at this surface, I think they did play yesterday. Think of it, and why have you chosen to bowl?
Yeah, I think especially winds pretty strong today, so it might be quite difficult to defend later, and you can take on one side of the ground.
Whole week of. And how much have you learned over the last 7 days?
Yeah, I think it's got better and better as the time's gone. I think guys are
David, all the best for you and your team. Let's Mona tell the captain. Mona, you lost the toss, having won it, what would you have done?
We don't bat first. The wicket it's been used wicket. They played last game yesterday, so looks like after 20 overs it might have spin. So we'll like to bat first.
Your batting hasn't come up to where you guys would have wanted it to be in the last couple of games. What's going to be important on a good surface to rectify that?
I think in the T20 it's important that we get a proper start. If we have a good start, we can capitalize later on. And the plan is to just get a good start and at least make around 160 plus runs.
Quickly, just a word on the Houston Challenge. How much have you and your team enjoyed it?
It was a really good preparation camp for us, and we had a great time so far.
All the best for you and your team. Mona Patel, the USA captain. So for news from the middle, the USA will be batting first. They've lost the toss and asked to bat on a good deck. It's T20 time in the Houston Challenge. We've got a really good deck to play today's final encounter of this challenge on. And let's have a more in-depth look at it now. We've had a full days of cricket on this fresher surface yesterday, over 80 overs. And I think because of that, you've seen a lot of that green grass deteriorate. They haven't wetted the curators. They've allowed it to just hold with the sun baking on it, which has allowed it to be a lot flatter and truer in terms of that bounce. I think as the day goes on, it will get slightly better for batting, may even get a bit quicker with that live green grass coming off the surface. So with, however, some spots on the surface, you will see that sideways movement that we've seen all week from the seamers. That will also play a crucial part, especially in the early morning stages. But I think with the USA batting first, they'll be looking at a score north of 160. It should be a good deck with a very lightning quick outfield. It should be a cracking game of cricket.
There you have it. MLC Composite 11 has won the toss, elected to bowl first. Shadley Van Skalkvik has the new ball in hand. Stephen Taylor is on strike. Aaron Jones is off strike. Here we go. And right away, Taylor flicks this over, fine leg, boundary immediately.
Boy, exactly the type of ball that you want. Good morning, Peter. Exactly the type of ball that you want as an opening batter. Stephen Taylor does not need any invitations to play that aggressive shot. And he got that ball full on his pads from over the wicket. No chance really of being given out LBW from that angle. Flicking it elegantly off his legs. Right over that man at short backward, at short fine leg rather. Runs away for 4.
We haven't seen an awful lot of Stephen Taylor this week. He's been out cheaply. And maybe this is a sign where things will turn around for him. And the wind is blowing back towards the highway end today. It's part of the reason why that ball cleared Carmine LaRue so easily. This time it's flicked into mid-wicket towards Bhaskar Yadram.
Stephen Taylor, naturally a very aggressive batter. Peter, you've seen him, 10 years now, plying his trade, playing for the U.S. team, Jamaican heritage, left-handed, really aggressive batter.
He made his senior team debut in 2010 against Jamaica. They're going to steal an overthrow here. Sloppy here from Marty Kane, who's usually on the ball, but combination of Marty Kane and Smith Patel just getting a bit too casual here in the first over. As you said, Stephen Taylor made his USA debut at the age of 16 against Jamaica in the Pearls Cup, Brian. If people can remember that far back, in Lauderhill in 2010 when New Zealand and Sri Lanka visited. And on the undercard, USA played Jamaica in the stadium in a couple of 50-over matches and T20s. And Stephen Taylor was a part of that. And famously, the stadium announcer, Danny, what's his last name? Danny, you know, Brian?
I don't recall.
You know Danny. And Danny's a big shot. Its name escapes me right now. If you've been to Lauderhill, you know who Danny is. Danny got a hold of the microphone, Brian, and during a live international match, instead of just announcing the score at the end of the over, to the crowd, shouts out over the PA system while USA is in the field, because the day before Stephen Taylor came into bat at 6 or 7. Shouts out to the field. We want to see Stephen Taylor bat. We want to see Stephen Taylor open.
Wow.
Stephen Taylor's from Florida, and the people want to see him bat. We came here to see Stephen Taylor. And Stephen Taylor is off the mark. Excuse me, he's now off strike with another single. Got that boundary to start off play. And so, yes, Stephen Taylor, that was the memo.
Well, let's just say that that's not necessarily ideal, but you've learned to expect the less than ideal from, oh, look at this sky. There is one man down there. Is he going to be tall enough? Nope, he needed to be about 8 feet tall to catch that one, Peter. Right over the top of that fielder running around from long on, rather. And the first 6 of the match goes to Aaron Jones.
Well, Jones, I tell you what was impressive about that, Brian. It looks like he's hitting into the wind based on the way the jerseys are rippling out there. Jones, you see a replay earlier, the previous delivery, as Taylor miscued that one out for a single.
I have to tell you, when that came off the bat, Peter, I thought for sure it would have been a catch. Did not realize that he hit it as well as he did, but looking back on the replay, he actually advanced down the wicket, making that delivery, which was ordinarily would have been short of a length, made it into a half volley. There you see the replay. Just a slight shimmy down the wicket, made it into a half volley, and that was struck a lot more powerfully than I realized coming off the bat. So, first maximum of the match, 13 runs scored from the first over. USA is off and running.
And sure enough, to wrap up that story, Stephen Taylor, who came in at 7 the day before, Steve Messiah, who is the captain on the field, heard the PA announcement, and Steve Messiah, who also bats at 3 or 4 for USA, said, if Stephen Taylor's going to open, then I'm going to open too. And so Steve Messiah and Stephen Taylor walked out together. As Carmine LaRue is now flicked over the leg side. Some flair from Stephen Taylor.
Oh, that had a little bit of Chris Gale in it there. What a shot. On his body, just a swivel pull, whipping it off his hips. 1-2 bounces over mid-wicket. There's the see in the replay. Carmine LaRue, decent amount of pace, but boy, just a short arm jab right over mid-wicket, running away for 4. Stylish, absolutely stylish. And if we might see a slight bit of a replay again as we're waiting for the ball to be retrieved, look at Stephen Taylor. Look at him after he plays the shot. If we could just get that replay up. Here we go. Look at Stephen Taylor. Look at the disdain with which his body language says, you know what, that ball is not going anywhere but to the boundary. Just holding the pose. Peter, bad thing that you were not out there with the camera, because I think he was holding that pose specifically for you.
And he's sending a message to Carmine LaRue as well. If you get anything back of the length, He's not going to hesitate to heave it over the leg side. Carmi coming in again. And this time, the pace bringing some extra heat. Carmi LaRue.
Not surprising, no opening bowler, really no bowler likes being hit like that. But if the first delivery that you bowl as an opening bowler with pace is going to be whipped away as just aggressively as Stephen Taylor did that first delivery from LaRue, you'd expect that the next one would have some gas on it. So appreciable amount of pace in that delivery, the second delivery, but unfortunately for him, it was a wide. It's an interesting matchup. LaRue has a decent amount of pace, and Stephen Taylor loves that pace.
And this time goes Fuller, and Harmeet Singh keeping Jones honest. Direct hit, and
Wow.
Shane Samuels gives it not out. And we saw this early in the week. To be honest, I'd like to see a look at the replay. I'm not sure if he was really in the best position.
Look at this throw. A brilliant throw from the covers.
Harmeet Singh is the fielder here, and I'd like to see where Shane Samuels is standing. I'm not sure if he was really in the best position to judge, because it looked like he was out. Aaron Jones,
Ooh.
it's awfully tight. We don't have
that
a
was
side-on angle.
Tight. Oh, that was tight.
Gives him the benefit of the doubt.
Now, I will say this. Shane Samuels certainly taking off immediately and running square of the wicket, which is where you want to be as an umpire in any of those calls. Looking to whip this around the leg side. It's going to be too fine for that fine leg fielder. So runs coming thick and fast here. Another boundary for Stephen Taylor. But going back to that replay of that run-out attempt, if we can look at that, it was touch and go for just a second there. Great pickup and throw by Harmeet Singh. And you'll see when the replay comes back up. In fact, we'll maybe be able to go to it after this delivery, because that was as close as you can get. Certainly would have been sent upstairs if we had that technology here.
And this
Great
time,
delivery.
good comeback by Carmi LaRue. He's got a gully in place. And the winds just keep whipping around. A few minutes
So here's
ago.
that run out again, Peter. Take quick pickup and immediately throwing. And here's a throw. Direct hit. He may have just been short, Peter.
I tell you what,
may have just been short.
There's some white chalk there in front of the bat.
Oh.
That's the indication that it looks like Jones was short, but he's still out there as Taylor
Bang down the ground. Oh, good stuff.
can't get this past the mid-off fielder, the captain, David White, putting his body on the line.
Boy, a lot of activity all of a sudden here, Peter. This game is only about 10 deliveries old, and we have a ton of activity already.
Tell you what, this is the same pitch they used yesterday, Brian. Where was this pitch early in the week? Full of runs all of a sudden.
Wow. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, look, umpires have one look at these plays in real time, and you don't have the benefit of going over it. With umpires don't have a Roddy in the production area where you can see that replay over and over again. So umpire Samuels only had one look at it. But looking at the replay up close here, Peter, I think he may have just been short by a couple of inches.
Jones stabs out a Yorker. Good bowling here from Carmi LaRue. And it ends 10-run over, 5 off the bat, 23 for no loss after 2.
Wow, such an eventful over. And for those who sort of long for the longer form of the game, these short formats, the 20-over format, done and dusted in about 3.5 hours, essentially packs all of that activity into a few hours, which is why you can see where this short format, Peter, is these days the most popular form of the game on the planet.
When it was first unveiled, it was intended to be as 3 hours. Then it started to stretch to 3.5. And now, if you watch some of these CPL and IPL games, Brian, they pack in enough advertisements disguised as timeouts to
Strategic timeout.
to stretch it well beyond 4 hours. If you have the the patience to stick around for that long. We'll see how long this game goes today. Shadley Van Skalkvik comes in. We got a left-right arm, former South African first-class duo here as Taylor again whips this off his hips over Bashka Yadrim. He's going to get at least two as Zia Shazad gives chase.
Not timed as well on that occasion by Stephen Taylor. Similar delivery to the one that he whipped off of Kamaru for 4. Maybe this one rushed onto him just a little bit more quickly than he expected. Actually, Bhaskar Yadram there at mid-wicket might have been in with a chance for a catch.
Shadley Van Skalkvik coming in again now. Goes short again, and this time hooked. Fine edge. Past Carmine LaRue, and it's going to go for another boundary through fine leg. 2 of the 3 boundaries for Taylor through that region, and all 3 through the leg side. They're getting the lines wrong, Brian.
The line is wrong. If you're going to bowl a short ball as a right-hander bowling to a left-hander from over the wicket, that line really needs to be middling off to maybe off stump to have him in that sort of awkward position. A little too straight with that short ball by Van Schalkwyk. And Stephen Taylor, even though it did not make really good contact, it was a top edge, genuine top edge, but still flying away over that fielder at fine leg. I'm also wondering, Peter, if you're going to bowl that line and length, why are you having the fine leg inside the circle?
That's an excellent point, Brian. As Taylor drops his bat, but is still able to get across the line. Good backup from Bhaskar Yadram to keep that from going for overthrows. The 2 boundary riders at the moment, now that Aaron Jones is on strike, long on and long off. So again, like you said, Brian, they've got the field set to bowl full.
Yep.
Got third man and final leg up in the ring, and yet these short balls keep getting flicked away. Jones now flicks this. Can't pick the gap at short fine leg. 3 yards either side, and it might have been another boundary, but they're still able to pick off a single.
That delivery that Van Schalkwyk just bowled. By the way, you're pronouncing his name beautifully. I need to learn that.
Van Skalkvik. I got a tutorial from Michael Voss last year, and I went straight to the horse's mouth a few days ago, and he confirmed with glee. I've never seen somebody so happy to have their name pronounced. Van Skalkvik.
There he goes again. He intentionally appears to be bowling. If you look at the field setting, Peter, the field setting is such that when he bowls to Aaron Jones, he's bowling the length that you'd expect. Oh, no ball for free hit, or for the second short ball, it appears. So a free hit because of the fact that he bowled more than 1 short ball in the over. And so more trouble here for the MLC Composite 11 as he gets the ball of free hit to Stephen Taylor.
Here comes Van Skalkvik and gets it on the line. Bang! Taylor goes downtown, over long on, and then some massive 6.
Oh, my goodness. So I started saying, Peter, because of the fact that when he, with the field setting, mid-on and mid-off back, and fine leg and third man inside the circle, that makes you think that he'd be bowling fuller. And he's bowling that fuller length to Aaron Jones. But to Stephen Taylor, he has decided to go short for some reason with that same field.
Well, he's got a deep backward square, so they're trying to get him to pull or hook to deep backward square. That's where Zia Shazad is stationed. And then there was the long on fielder in place, but he was rendered pretty useless on that free hit as Harmeet Singh was out there, and it went sailing a good 30 yards over his head. The wind now switching directions, blowing out that way. And no match for Stephen Taylor. You're bowling that length with the wind flying out in that direction.
Wow.
And this is by far the gustiest day. The conditions, looking at the online forecast, were 25 to 30 mile an hour winds today with gusts up to 40. And it could be even stronger than that out in Prairie View. As this one is whipped wide of Bhaskar Yadram, another boundary, and a very sloppy misfield by Josh Dascombe.
Josh Dascombe is going to have to answer for that sloppy piece of fielding. But in the meantime, another boundary to a rampant Stephen Taylor. Looking really good is Stephen Taylor, 28 from 15 And at the end of the third over, the score is 4-2 without loss.
So a 19-run over there with Stephen Taylor doing the bulk of the damage. Aaron Jones scoring just a single in that over. Getting out of Stephen Taylor's way, putting the South Florida all-rounder on strike to do all the heavy lifting. And Carmine LaRue is going to continue here in the power play. Sometimes you see some captains like to slip in an over of spin at the start to try and sneak one away, but they're going with pace for the first 4 overs here. Jones now on strike with a slip in place, and now they've got deep final leg and deep third man back for Jones with Carmine LaRue bowling.
More sedate start to the over on this occasion. Carmine LaRue, tall left arm fast bowler. Very quick. You see his wrist action is such that he generates a decent amount of pace and hits the deck pretty hard.
And I got another tutorial from Carmine LaRue. I kept on saying Carmi early in the week. It's Carmi. And I asked him, how do you pronounce your name? And Jones just hit off an inside edge. Stifled appeal from Carmine LaRue as Harmeet Singh fields this point. Says, Carmi. It's like Carmichael without the cull. Just remember, it's Carmichael without the cull. Carmi. Carmine LaRue.
Well, that's a relatively easy adjustment to make from Carmi to Carmi. At some point, I may need to have that same tutorial that you had, Peter. I'd love to be able to pronounce Mr. Van Schalkwyk's name properly.
Well, you're not the only one who's having issues. All of his teammates call him Shadow.
Shadow.
They can get Shadow out. Much easier than Van Schalkwyk.
Yeah.
Shadow they can get away with. Shadow's easy.
Boy, far and away the most quiet over so far this match. The first over went for 13. The second went for 10. The last over, Stephen Taylor plundered 19 from. And so far in this over, by Carmine LaRue, just 3 dot balls. Aaron Jones, very sedate by comparison.
Goes short with the field set for that potential hook to deep fine leg, and Jones can't get bad on it. And he signaled one for the over. This is very good bowling here from Carmine LaRue. And this is achieving one objective. Keep Stephen Taylor off strike. It's not just about bowling well to Aaron Jones. Don't let Stephen Taylor get back on strike. You'll drive the runs the way things are going here early. And now a desperate heave and a slight fumble from Smith Patel, but not enough for Jones to steal a by. And the other thing, again, you're not just drying up the runs for Stephen Taylor, but you do this long enough, you have the potential to disrupt his rhythm. Make him go cold to the non-strikers in. And Stephen Taylor's not having a word. I think he might be saying dot 2 or 4 right here. I need to get back on strike for the start of the next over. So
I wouldn't be surprised if he was saying that. I think he's also saying don't lose your shape. That last shot was relatively agricultural. A huge swipe and a miss. Head aimed directly skyward as he played that shot.
He's telling him, if you're going to get a dot ball, just block it. No crazy swings.
Yeah.
And this one slashed.
Oh, look at that.
Deep third man. Beautiful uppercut by Aaron Jones, and he does get that even number delivery. It's going to be a 4, though, in favor of USA to spoil would-be maiden 46 for no loss after 4.
5 dot balls. Excellent over, but the last delivery of this over, short, wide outside off stump, gave him way too much room. And anyone, as an opening batter in a T20 match, would love to see that type of delivery. Third man was way too fine to be able to do anything about that. Cut away very easily over that where backward point would have been. flies away for 4. So at the end of that over, the score is now 46 without loss.
He's signaling one more delivery left. Brian,
Oh.
I'm not sure if there was a wide or a no ball in there. Potentially for a second short delivery. I didn't see a signal, though.
I did not either. And our records say it's over, but apparently...
I counted to 6.
Yep, so did I.
Hamza counted to 6.
Let's see what happens with this bonus delivery.
And
That's
Yorker
well
jammed
bowled.
out, and they can't make anything out of it on the USA side. So 7 ball over there, and the score remains 46 for no loss after 4. There's been so much action out there, Brian. The umpires forgot how to count to 6. Getting distracted. Maybe it was the lack of action in that over. There were so many things going on the previous overs with all the 4s and 6s, all these dot balls that threw him off kilter a little bit.
Wow. 46 runs in 4 overs. Tremendous pace. Scoring at the rate of 11.5. At this pace, they would end up with 230. You would think that when the field restrictions are lifted at the end of 6 overs, with the field being able to spread out a little bit, you'd think that scoring rate would come down a little. At the same time, Stephen Taylor, if he stays there, it really doesn't matter where the fielders are because he has the capability and the capacity of being able to score very, very heavily. A change from the forest end here, Peter. Looks like Bhaskar Yadram will take up the attack.
Indeed, it's the big unit, the former West Indies under-19 representative out of Guyana.
The big units.
There are a lot of big units here. Not quite as big as Randy Johnson.
No.
But
No Randy Johnson.
we've got a few big units in cricket terms. Bhaskar Yadram, Cornet Dry, Carmine LaRue. And you can pick out Bhaskar not only by the double 0 on the back of his jersey, but he's got those distinct sleeves that he wears out in the field as he comes in for his first over around the wicket to Taylor, and he goes high over extra cover. And Marty Kane gives chase. It's going to just trickle into the rope for another boundary to Stephen Taylor. The first one for him through the offside.
Stephen Taylor not necessarily making the contact on that one that he would have wanted to. Ended up really being a thick outside edge, but all the power in that stroke, even not having timed it the way he wanted to, still got enough on it to have it fly over the cover region, running away for 4. So Stephen Taylor is a man on a mission here. 32 from 16, striking it at the rate of 200. And 50 is up, Peter, with one delivery having been bowled in the 5th over.
And this time back down the ground.
Wow.
Another thumping drive from Stephen Taylor. Back-to-back boundaries. And he, despite a slight change in the field, moving that mid-on up in the ring and the mid-off back to the rope, hasn't plugged that gap. 2 boundaries wide mid-off, and now again straight through mid-off. Taylor is on a mission this morning, Brian.
Jeez, looking at that replay, if we could see that again, Roddy, look at Bhaskar Yadram's reaction. The ball almost took Bhaskar Yadram with it to the boundary. So look at his reaction, taking evasive action right at the last second. Looking here at the replay, watch Bhaskar Yadram as this ball comes right back at him. Bang! Oh, immediately taking evasive action. Had he not gotten his head out of the way, that could have been a really, really ugly incident. But as it is, another 4 for Stephen Taylor, who now moves on. Again, he's at 36 rather from 17.
It brings about another change in the field with Bhaskar Yadram bowling outside off line, so that deep mid-wicket has now been brought into the ring. They put a wide cover sweeper in place with mid-off still back. Yadram runs in again. And a full toss. Probably the easiest delivery for Taylor to hit, and he can't do anything with it. A rare dot ball for Stephen Taylor. Now, Brian, amidst all this carnage, the question I have on my mind, what were they serving at the Grand Tuscany for breakfast? Maybe Nikhil can tell us when he comes on air. Whatever it was, Stephen Taylor sure liked it.
Wow. Maybe it was spinach, Peter.
I think there must have been some Popeye spinach as part of the buffet there at the Grand Tuscany.
Wow.
comes Yadram again. Goes for a slower ball, and Taylor just to angle this with a billiards cue shot behind point for 2. Good adjustment from Taylor there. He's got the power and the finesse.
Yet another expensive over on the way here. 2 balls remaining here in the 5th over. 10 runs already having been scored from it. And when MLC Composite 11 won the toss and elected to bowl Peter, I don't think this is what they had in mind.
This time again, Taylor slashes this over backward point, tailing away to the rope again. So the first 4 overs, it was all about the leg side, Brian, and now he's peppering the offside rope. A trio of boundaries here in the 5th over.
Well, in fairness, looking at this ball, gave him too much width, very wide, gave him the room to free his arms. In fact, had he not played that probably would have been adjudged wide by umpire Jermaine Lindo. But full outside off and just throwing the kitchen sink at that ball, Stephen Taylor. Thick outside edge, flying away over backward point for 4.
Gonna have to adjust the team sheets that were given to us, Brian. Instead of MLC wins the toss and chooses to bowl first, MLC chooses to win the toss and get punished by Stephen Taylor. That's what it's looking like right now. My goodness.
Wow.
42 off 20 deliveries.
Brutal.
There's some smoke coming off the end of that bat. He's got in his hand. Yadram. Another slower ball attempted. Low full toss. He's going for the slower ball Yorker, and he's not going to be able to cut it off at mid-off. 3 boundaries through that mid-off region in this over. 4 total. Caps an 18-run over. And USA Invitational 11, 64 for no loss after 5.
Absolutely brutal hitting here by Stephen Taylor. That last one was not quite as aggressive, was not as brutal, but just a classic straight drive, getting it too straight for that fielder down at long off. No way for him to get around in time to get that ball, and Stephen Taylor now moves up to 46, Peter, from 21, off and running.
Now we'll see if Harmeet Singh can slow him down at all. Is this spinner, the left-arm spinner, is based in Seattle. Former India under-19 player. Comes into the attack for the final over the power play to bowl left-arm spin. Aaron Jones will be on strike. And he's got one objective, just get a single to get the hot hand. On strike. He's got a deep mid-wicket. Marty Kane is out there. And a cover sweeper, the 2 boundary riders at the moment for Harmeet Singh in this final over the power play. No slip.
You mentioned getting a single.
This field is flipped. I've been so focused on Stephen Taylor. It's Kane who's actually at a cover sweeper. And Zia Shahzad at a deep mid-wicket will be flipped around when Stephen Taylor gets on strike.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see if Aaron Jones is able to get that single. The matchup of the left-handed orthodox spinner against Stephen Taylor. That will be
he's
a
just
really
going to try and
interesting
dab
one.
this behind point or square the wicket.
That's exactly
There
what
he
they did.
goes. Strays on the legs. That's what Aaron Jones is so good at, just getting it square the wicket, getting onto the back foot, and just either flicking it off his hips or just dabbing it with a late cut. So he gets that single, and now the fuse is lit, Brian. Some more fireworks on the way potentially here. And there's a change in the field. They're going to bring that
Of course.
cover sweeper in. And they're going to put a long on in place. And they're also going to bring Marty Kane in. So they're pushing both straight fielders back. Or are they? No, Marty Kane, change of plan. Marty Kane stays out there. David White is going to stay on the ring at mid-off. So long on, and now Kane's shifting around more towards a deep square leg.
It's the type of field that you would expect with Stephen Taylor batting, because that ball should be, in theory, turning into him. And so Marty Kane at deep mid-wicket and the fielder down at long on, I think, will be in play if Stephen Taylor chooses to go aggressive here.
And he's got to be careful because he's hitting into the wind now. If he tries to go big, he's taking the risk, not just the boundary riders, but he's hitting into the wind. And he goes for the reverse sweep. Can't pick out the gap at backward point. Zia Shazad. So clever thinking from Stephen Taylor. The wind, he's going with the wind. It's a calculated risk there. Sitting against the turn, but he's going with the wind. That's what he's trying to take advantage of there. Didn't come off on that occasion. And this time darted too quickly down the leg side, so a wide is called.
In fairness, I did not have Stephen Taylor reverse sweeping the left-handed spinner on my bingo card here, Peter. He actually almost holed out directly to Bhaskar Yadram. That ball was in the air for a while. Could have carried to that fielder. And there goes Yadram again. A late cut by Stephen Taylor. Runs away down the hill. Look at this. The most delicate of late cuts from the brutal, punishing Stephen Taylor. And he gets up to 50, Peter. 50 now from 23 balls. Absolutely setting Prairie View Stadium on fire.
Well, we saw the power, and now we see the touch from Stephen Taylor. And again, just the shrewdness. It's a calculated shot. It wasn't just about getting the width, but getting the wind in his favor. He's not trying to take on those two boundary riders where he'd be hitting into the wind. We saw him play the reverse sweep early in the over where he's trying to go with the wind into that offside going northeast at the moment. And this time again, he just got a late cut, and he let the wind do the rest of the work. And now just a simple chip to mid-wicket for no run.
I like Stephen Taylor's approach. So it demonstrates that he's thinking about his innings. Appeal for an LBW, I don't think that's going to be anywhere close. Umpire Shane Simon was thinking about it and not giving it in the end. But
well, umpire Stephen Taylor is also giving it not out. Have a look at the replay here. And I tell you, this was awfully close.
I think
Brian.
That's bouncing over the top. That hit him maybe just on top of the knee roll, and he was forward. You can look, his front foot is probably a foot and a half or so forward. I don't know that that would have been close. In my mind, that's bouncing over the top.
Brian, I think you got some Jamaican tinted sunglasses you're wearing today. It looks like a pretty good shot to me. And on this wicket, which hasn't been bouncing much all week, Stephen Taylor, I think, got a very, very, very good benefit of the doubt there. 6 runs in the over, 5 off the bat.
Maybe if Roddy can pull that replay up again. Okay, before that, we have a few highlights. Look at that short arm jab to start his account over mid-wicket for 4. Stephen Taylor off and running, of course, is next delivered by Shalkwick. Top edge, hook running away for 4. He scored a few runs through that same area. And Stephen Taylor, of course, Peter, showing the full range of strokes. Huge drive down the ground over extra cover on that occasion. And just really meting up punishment to all of the bowlers. That was a beautifully timed flick. Josh Dascombe with a horrible piece of fielding on that occasion. And, of course, finally coming up the late cut that will bring up his 50. Just excellent batsmanship all the way around. And, of course, putting the USA on a charge and almost taking Bhaskar Yadram's head off with that straight drive. So he's showing just an array of shots all around the ground. And, of course, showing an ability to score heavily regardless of where the ball is pitched.
For the next segment of play, as Bhaskar Yadram gets set to start the 7th over, I'm going to hand things off to Nikhil Uttamchandani. We'll continue with Brian Walters.
Yeah, thank you very much, Peter. Been the first 6 overs full of carnage by the USA team. Losing the toss, asked to bat first. What was key to me, though, Manat Patel, he said he wanted to bat first. Clearly, could be the right decision. What a power play. 70 for none. They've got the perfect striking platform. Aaron Jones, again, has done this so well to support Stephen Taylor. Just been able to get off strike, come back for another easy 2. Brian? First 6, you have to give it to the USA team. The way Stephen Taylor's got off, he's the type of player, though, you don't want to see. We already got off to start like this because the possibilities are endless with him.
Just imagine that the guy who's playing second fiddle is striking it above 100. Aaron Jones, 15 now from 12, but his efforts are absolutely dwarfed by Stephen Taylor. 50 not out from 26, and he's just getting started. Absolutely, power play goes emphatically towards USA. Stephen Taylor responsible for a platform from which, if they keep scoring at the same rate here, Nikhil, they will exceed 230 runs. I think that will probably come down a little bit but I think a really big score is still on the cards.
Well, they went with a slightly different batting outlook today, the USA team. Mona Patel and Xavier Marshall we usually see at the top of the order. They've put Aaron Jones to open the batting with Taylor, the resident opener. And so far, you have to say this combination's worked for them. I mean, anytime a team has got to 70 in the first 6, regardless of each individual score, it tells you that something is right. But I think it will be a very good batting surface. I looked at it this morning, very hard, very flat. So you could see that really high score.
I would agree with you. I saw your pitch report, Nikhil, and I tend to agree with what you said. I walked up myself and took a look at it this morning before we got started. I think it's certainly a lot flatter than it was yesterday. I don't think that there will be very many tricks, and so far we haven't seen anything really either stay low or kick off in any way. So it feels like it's a batting wicket. And, of course, 120 balls where each team is looking just to cash in as as much as they can. You expect for there to be a big score. And Stephen Taylor now been there for 26 deliveries, well and truly set and looking for a big one. And he, thus far, is attacking Bhaskar Yadram in a way that I don't think I've seen Bhaskar Yadram ever attacked.
We know each other very well, Taylor and Yadram, obviously both from the West Indies.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, in Bhaskar Yadram's first over to Stephen Taylor, he was bowling around the wicket, angling that ball into Stephen Taylor, but as we see Peter De La Pena being Peter De La Pena here on camera, but he is now switched to going over the wicket. I've always spoken about the fact that I think over the wicket is a better angle for a right-handed pace bowler to a left-handed batter. And thus far able to keep him quiet just on that one delivery that he's faced from Yadram so far this over.
The wind really picking up this morning, Brian.
Yep.
To levels that I don't think I've experienced since being here in Houston, Texas. So Yadram may have just had something in the eye. But he needs to really come back strong. He's done well in this over thus far, just 3 runs from it. But they've got to find a way to break this partnership.
Wow. So Peter De La Pena coming in, just to mention that the gusts at this stage are close to 40, 45 miles an hour. You're out here, as the name implies, on the prairie. There's not much blocking the wind from blowing. And so that gust of wind that's coming across the ground right now can be pretty brutal.
Well, what a shot that is from Taylor. Won't get to the boundary, but did have a lot of class, luckily for Yadram, and probably smartly in the end. He's got long off and long back.
Yep.
But how do they get this first wicket, Peter, from the MLC Composite 11?
Well, Barry, I'll tell you how they get the first wicket. Since I'm Peter, I guess you must be Barry.
Apologies for that, Brian.
No problem.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long week. But at this stage, you know, bowling to Stephen Taylor, especially when he's batting from the highway and hitting with the wind, it's a really tough ask. At that point, I don't know that you're looking for a wicket more than you are as this ball is struck into the outfield. I don't know that you're looking for a wicket more than you are just trying to keep him quiet. So you may be, as Bhaskar Yadram, I think, has done, switch to just Yorker-only mode.
But just 5 runs from that over, and in the scheme of things, you have to credit Yadram on that.
Oh, yes.
Really good comeback for him. End of 7, 75 for none. So if you are joining us for the first time today, you're wondering, hold on a minute, how is the run rate 10? It is a T20 encounter. The one of only T20 encounter of this Houston Challenge. So we have a MLC composite team up against this USA Invitational, looking to end with a win. It'll be very important because they've got a crucial 2022 coming up. You look at the Tri-Series against Scotland and the UAE.
Yep.
The World Cup qualifiers, a lot of cricket to play for this group of international players. And playing against this high-quality opposition will help them in terms of that preparation.
And that's the key. This tournament effectively is a preparation camp for the truly important fixtures to come later on in the year. And I don't think you can find a higher level of competition in this country than a composite MLC 11 team. Now, Harmeet Singh now with his second over coming up. 1 over bowled, excuse me, 6 runs from it. The advantage to him is that he will be bowling with a very stiff wind at his back. And Aaron Jones, playing a delicate late cut. That's running away close to the boundary. That might go for 4.
Well, the run's continuing to flow. What is a very good surface as it's showing 4 batting. 8th over. They've already close to that 80-run mark. Aaron Jones, now he wants to get it on the point up in the circle. And all he had to do was beat Van Skalvik, and it was 4.
Wow. It's the difference between somebody who's hitting the ball brutally, as Stephen Taylor is, and somebody who's also batting effectively, but more with timing and placement. Delicate late cut.
Oh, look at this now. On the sweep. Smartly hits with the wind. Aaron Jones, he's such a smart cricketer. And got down one knee, sort of premeditated that. And Harmeet Singh has been expensive thus far.
Boy, I started saying delicate late cuts and placement by Aaron Jones. He made me look pretty silly with that shot because it was a brutal Stephen Taylor-like shot, as you mentioned here, Nikhil, hitting with the wind, elevating that ball over square leg for 6. On the charge is the USA Invitational 11, or you say, yeah, they're now up to 85 without loss. We're only 2 deliveries into the 8th over, but we're setting here, if you're the USA, you're right now on target for 232. So that scoring rate that I thought would come down really hasn't come down at all. Ooh.
Oh, that one goes straight on. And given this time, hit on the back foot. Aaron Jones knew it straight away. Harmeet Singh gets that one to go on, kick on with the arm. Good change up. This young man, so talented, so skilled, and always in the wickets.
Yeah, I don't know that there's much doubt about this one. Looking at the replay here, just very full, very straight, and getting him on the back foot, as you mentioned here, Nikhil. And Aaron Jones goes for 18. The replay coming up shortly. Here we are. That left arm around the wicket. Jones making the mistake of going back to a full delivery. Not something you ever want to do, particularly if there's going to be any uneven bounce. There was no evidence there of uneven bounce, but just generally speaking, you don't want to be going back to those full balls. Aaron Jones making the tragic error from his standpoint, and very little in terms of the decision for Rashane Samuels rather to make. Pretty significant decision in the end. 85 for 1.
I don't think it's anything to do with the pitch, Brian. I think just went straight on and he misread it. Aaron Jones, very hard to pick from the hand of Harmeet Singh. Doesn't really change his arm speed either. One of his good skills that he has, which makes him such a lethal bowler. It brings the captain, Manat Patel, to the crease. And you just think about, with this platform, what's to come for the US Invitational 11. Patel, Xavier Marshall, who we expect to see next at the crease. A lot of power still left in the tank for the Invitational US team.
Oh, no question. With 1 wicket down, you still have the likes of Gajanan Singh, Jaskaran Malhotra. There's a lot of batting still to come. And so I don't know that you'd ever be relaxed if you are the MLC composite side, because there's still a lot of batting to come. Harmeet Singh now into his 3rd over, if I'm not mistaken. No, sorry, 2nd over. 1 for 16, 1.3. He's been very effective. I think so far the best of all the bowlers. Oh, quick run here, taking the throw coming into the non-strikers and not going to be in time. But Harmeet Singh with that left arm angle bowling to the left-hander is going to be an interesting matchup. Stephen Taylor, I think, played him very well in the first time they matched up in Harmeet Singh's first over. Considering where the wind is coming from, Stephen Taylor doing exactly what you'd want for him to do, just making sure that you maneuver the strike in such a way and play. His shot selection was such that he never really got in danger of hitting into the wind. Again, the very stiff wind coming from our southwest, southwest, blowing northeast. So you're looking at the screen, it's blowing directly from the bottom right to the top left, bottom left rather to the top right. So there's a significant amount of wind, and Stephen Taylor, in order to keep going here, is going to have to maintain that intelligence with which he's been batting so far. Appeal for a leg before. Another reverse sweep attempted here by Stephen Taylor, Nikhil.
You have to look at that one. Has been a couple times, but remember, very tough to tell from this angle, Brian. On the replay, that camera not directly behind.
This is a closer shot than the previous one. This is not bouncing as high as the previous one I mentioned. So this one's going definitely a lot closer. And umpire Shane Thomas would have certainly had some more thinking to do about this one. In many instances like this, Nikhil, you see an umpire give out just for the choice of shot, because Stephen Taylor essentially playing a reverse sweep to a ball that was dead straight. Here's the replay again. Boy, bearing in mind again that we're not directly in line with the stumps. So
could that impact been outside?
That's exactly what I was about to say. Potentially, that impact is maybe just outside off stump. Other than that, as I see some disagreement here in the commentators area.
So end of 8 overs, Baskar Yadram. What a good comeback it was in his second. And you expect this from Manat Patel. Just play his lavish drives, so classical, regardless of the format. Always tells me he never changes the way he plays. It's just the mindset. It's mentally tough, one of the major reasons why he's been given captaincy for this USA team. Mm-hmm. Do have a lot of options, though, on the MLC side of things. When you look at their team, obviously we've seen a couple of them. Carmi LaRue, you expect him with his seam option to come back later on.
Mm-hmm.
It is a pretty stacked batting lineup, though, for this composite team. Look at Smith Patel, Shayan Jayasuriya, Milind Kumar. In the air and just past David White, the captain, at mid-wicket. Really should have been taken, but Manat Patel times it so well. Just seemed a little late on it, White.
Boy, David White exactly in that position for that same shot. And maybe just 6 inches or so outside of his reach. If his left hand was about 6 inches longer, if he'd been positioned about 6 more inches to his left, he very easily could have taken that. But it just adds up to another boundary for the hard-charging USA Invitational 11.
So they do have the left-arm spin of Ali Sheikh. They can go to the MLC Composite 11. We did have Harmeet Singh picking up the wicket with his left-arm spin. That run rate has decreased slightly. Still over 11, though, so well on their way, the USA team. Good change of pace, though, from Yadram. Always tough, even though you are heading with the wind, so a tough end to bowl at running against it. Mm-hmm. He's shown good control in these last couple of overs through the middle to pull things back. First over went for 20, second one just 5 runs.
I think you're making a very good point. First of all, running into the wind is never easy. Baskar Yadram, not a small guy, and so that wind is certainly pushing him back as he's running into it. And then, of course, on the other end, the batters will be hitting with the wind. So a pretty tall order, all things considered, for anyone bowling from that end, particularly a seamer.
Well, just something for David White, the captain, to think about. What about the proposition of throwing the ball to Zia Shazad from the highway end? And even if you can flight a few deliveries, you then ask Taylor to take on the long and long off boundaries, which he'll back himself to. But he's heading into the wind, which can play a part. So I think he's got to be a bit more proactive here, David White. Wicket will be the key. Getting that Stephen Taylor wicket, I think, gets them back on track. 2 new batters at the crease. Won't be able to score as freely as Taylor's done. Well, this time, that's in the air. Man underneath. And takes a catch. Really good catch in the end.
Wow.
And Bhaskar Yadram finally gets his man. He's come back really well in this second spell, Yadram. And a great catch in the deep from Zia Shazad.
It was judged beautifully because, as you mentioned here, Nikhil, the wind is blowing exactly in that direction. And so the shot was in the air for a very long time, went very high in the air, probably some 70 or so feet, I would imagine, or I'd guess. And you see him judging that ball to perfection and then immediately at some point just getting his footwork just right and then taking that catch probably around waist height. So that's not easy. And, of course, there would have been an added pressure with the ball in the air for as long as it was. You have all kinds of time to think about it. But I think he did a really good job in eventually judging it and then cradling it when it came down. So big wicket falls here. Stephen Taylor goes back after a brutal stay at the crease. 51 from 32 balls faced.
I think he would have been disappointed hitting with the wind.
Yep.
That it didn't go all the way for 6, but just shows you sometimes it's all about the luck of the draw, really. Every delivery is so different. But Yadram shown good control, good execution in these last couple of overs. 1 delivery remaining in his third. Jaskar Malhotra comes to the middle. Known for his power hitting, known for his 6 hitting as well. So they haven't sent Xavier Marshall in as yet, the USA team. Hamad Azam, haven't seen him bowl during this Houston challenge, but definitely can bowl the ball. We saw him in the minor league bowl well for the Golden State Grizzlies. Goes short straight away. Malhotra just gets off the mark.
It's an eventful over. 8 runs from it, but more importantly, if you are the MLC Composite 11, the big wicket of Stephen Taylor. So at the end of 9, scores 94 for 2. Back in the action here. Harmeet Singh to continue. First delivery is punched into the offside and a quick single take and overthrow does not quite yield any extra runs. So,
well, on what looks like a really good batting surface, I think the US team will be aiming to keep that run rate over 10. So you'll be aiming for that 200 score, which will be really competitive. But you look at the batting lineup of this composite 11. Brian David White, Smith Patel, Jay Surya, Milan Kumar, Milanta, and even Hamad Azam with his power. They will want to really get a substantial total which they can feel comfortable with defending.
as we've spoken about, the pitch I think is very, very good for batting. Doesn't look like there are any tricks in the wicket. As a quick single is taken here. Good work by keeper. In fact, the direct hit at the non-striker's end. But with the start that Stephen Taylor has essentially engineered, you can have periods where there is low scoring. For example, this last over went for 8 and the wicket. 2 deliveries so far in this over have only yielded 3 deliveries rather have yielded 2 runs. But the run rate is still above 10. You mentioned a second ago here, Nikhil. The run rate is now 10.11. So even scoring at that rate, they're right now projected to be over 200, 202 to be specific. And so what that start from Stephen Taylor did is give you the option, as this ball is swept away down the leg side, that might run away for 4 and yet makes it right now 4 runs. So that gives you the option of being able to absorb, maybe have a little bit of time for the 2 relatively new batters to get settled and then launch towards the end, because it still has you in the position where your platform is already set. I think they'd be disappointed with anything less than about 210 or 215 here.
Well, to get up to that, we'll take some getting. Still 10 overs after this. Yes, they're 100 for 2, but the big hit of Taylor has been taken. So no means that 2 new batters at the crease have got to try and build that momentum. And also, with the 5 fielders out, it won't be easy.
We have all these unofficial rules here, Nikhil. One of the most unofficial rules is that if you double the score after 12 overs, and that should get you to what the final score would be. It'll be interesting to see. Oh, never run in a misfield. That's another rule that we always talk about. And they almost had a pretty ugly run out there. In the end, just 7 runs coming from this, the 10th over. After 10, the score is 101 for 2.
Look at how things have unfolded. The first 10, highlighted by that man at the top, Stephen Taylor, 51 from just 32. And Aaron Jones supported him well, but they've gotten those 2 wickets. The MLC 11, they've come back in this one. A lot of batting still to come. Sushant Modani, Gajanan Singh, Xavier Marshall.
You mentioned him earlier on here, Nikhil. Now, Hamid Azam is now into the attack. Be bowling to Jaskaran Malhotra. Jaskaran been there for only faced 4 balls so far.
Yeah.
7 runs to his name.
But we haven't seen him much in this Houston challenge with the ball in hand, Hamad Azam. So can he get another wicket that the MLC team was so much need? Mana Patel has been a bit quiet so far. Has been happy to just push around the ball for a couple singles. Wants to get in. A lot of time still left. 10 overs is a long time, Brian.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And you mentioned scoring will be more difficult with 5 fielders out. But, you know, you can score more than one way. You can drop the ball into the gaps and run those singles like Jaskaran just did. So I don't think that there's going to be much drop-off. And this is hoisted down in the air deep, and diving attempt by the fielder running around from long on, not able to get to it. It runs away for 4.
But more runs for the USA team. Hamad Azam, Mana Patel taking him on straight away, not needing to see too much. That fielder was caught in a bit of a no man's land there because he was in between going for the catch and saving the runs. In the end, just got into the boundary. So a welcome boundary for the USA team. If they want to keep that 10 run and over rate and score 200 plus, they've got to find 2 boundaries and over at least, Brian.
I would not disagree with that at all. I'd also say that, bearing in mind that the gentleman at the opposite end, the one who is now the non-striker, only hit 6 sixes in an international match a few months ago. One of very few international players to ever do that. Hoisted in the air. How far has this gone? Another huge hit in the same direction and another 6, Nikhil.
Well, it's heading with the wind. Monat Patel knew it straight away. So even though he didn't probably get that one out of the screws, it went very high. But because of that height, the wind just carried it over the head of Zia Shazad. Another 6. So 10 runs off the over thus far. 11, sorry, in the first 3 deliveries. They're racing here, the USA team.
Wow.
Yeah, much better in terms of length, but
Yep.
can't afford to be full to Monat Patel just because of how powerful, how strong he is down the ground.
Well, Manan Patel, I don't know that you'll ever see him bat recklessly, but if the runs are there to be had, he's absolutely capable of scoring them. And as you mentioned, very strong down the ground. And if you bowl at such a length where the drive is on, he's capable as any of being able to hit big right down the ground. Last 2 balls of the over coming up now. Hamid Azam. Bang!
Well, Malhotra latches on to that one. It was short, and Hamad Azam doesn't have the pace to really trouble you as a seamer. So I'm surprised he's gone for that option, especially with that bat square leg fielder in front of square.
Wow. Jaskaran, very quick bat speed. Just one of the strongest guys on the team. Just looking at the way that he plays that shot, just immediately into position, latches onto that short ball, hammers it away behind square for 4. So 16 runs from the first over here being bowled by Hamad Azam with 1 ball to come.
Just be a single. There is protection at the cover boundaries, but a huge over for the USA team. They get 17 from it. And the MLC, all of a sudden, the captain, David White, he's got to do some thinking again as to how he can get this 3rd wicket because this partnership is beginning to develop. 118 for 2.
So, Nikhil, I'm going to put you on the spot. I mentioned that Jaskaran had 6 sixes in an international match for the USA a few months ago. How many international players have ever done that in an international match?
I believe he's the 4th. Well, you're not giving me an answer, Brian. So
I'm waiting to hear you list them.
Herschel Gibbs, Kyron Pollard,
Yep.
Jaskaran Malhotra.
Uh-huh.
And who is the 4th? It's just not coming to me at this second. It's no, Brian. It's been a long week. Just not on the top of my mind right now.
Josh Dascom looks like he's itching to answer as he searches for Google. The answer is really Ravi Shastri.
Yeah. Ravi, of course. One of the first to do it.
Yep. Of course, the first person of note to do it was Sir Garfield Sobers, but he did that in a county match in England, so not an international match.
Zia Shazad, the leg spinner, into the attack. And he's gone for a bit of a trump card, David White. I like the move, though. You have to look for wickets. It's only 20 overs. They're flying at the moment, just a touch under 11 runs per over. So if I'm David White, I'm looking to see where I can get a wicket from. And Jaskaran Malhotra just hoiks that one over cover. Marty Kane, an excellent field in the deep. So he just keeps it to 2. But I like the move because he's got Zia Shazad bowling from the highway end and going to force these batters to hit against the wind. Sorry, into the wind, really.
I agree with you, and I'd also add that he's a leg spinner, so he's turning the ball away from both of these right-handers, which is a good asset to have at this stage of the innings. Really at any stage of the innings, but particularly if there are 2 batters who are going after you, and you expect that from this point forward throughout the rest of the innings, we're into the 12th that you'd expect for all of the batters to be attacking the bowlers. Having a good leg spinner at this stage is always a good asset.
Well, this time off the leading edge, Monak Patel didn't quite get that one, but he will get it over point, and it will be another boundary. So they're continuing to go with that trend of looking for at least a boundary and over, and they're getting that 10, hitting that 10 mark every single over. Not about how they come, it's about the fact that they come, Brian.
Wow. 9 runs gone, so we're almost at that 10 run and over mark with still 2 deliveries to come here in the 12th over. And this may be one of those stages here in the Kill where my rule doesn't exactly pan out, because if you double the score from where they are right now at 127, that would suggest 254. I think that's a little out of reach. But I think something in the 200 range or above is certainly on the cards. Oh, good delivery.
Yep.
Very good delivery.
Much better line because it's so close to cut.
Yep.
Monak Patel, very strong when he's got width, can put his hands through the ball. So, got to be very straight to him. He has the field set for that straighted ball with 3 fielders on the leg side. But again, he goes to the cut, and again, he's punished. So 4 more for Monak Patel. They're just conceding too many boundaries. The MLC 11. And again, another growing concern for them. This partnership developing. 1-3, 1 for 2. Patel knew all he had to do was beat Harmeet Singh at point. So 8 overs remain in this encounter. And he's gone back to Hamad Azam. That's a really interesting call from David White. Given the fact that Azam has gone for 17 in his first, Brian, I think he lacks the pace to really be threatening on this track, where you don't get much sideways movement, don't have a lot of life in that surface. Let's see how he fares, though, in his second over. Oscar Malhotra goes straight, but there's protection. We saw a similar thing with Bhaskar Yadram. He went for 20 in his first, came back really well.
I would think that the thinking is you're wanting to save your overs remaining by Shadley Van Schaikvik and Carmelo Rowe towards the end of the innings. So he's trying to eat up some of these overs and have it bowled by somebody who you would think at minimum would be able to locate that ball, maybe Yorker length. Maybe you're trying to get him to just do what he can to keep the scoring rate down. He's not looking, I don't think, to get wickets. And by the way, speaking of the wind, if you see, that's about the 3rd time that this has happened, that the wind has actually blown the bails off. Good strong wind coming in here from not only just from the southwest rather, coming into the northeast. So a lot of wind, heavy, blustery conditions for these players. And at the same time, you have here Hamad Azam Nikhil running into the wind to bowl. Not going to be an easy order for him.
We'll have to re-bowl that one. Yeah, it's been really powerful hitting from this USA team, operating at close to 11 runs and over, and well on course to clear that 200, maybe even 210 mark. Monak Patel again, just haven't gone straight to him. They've got the field set for both bowlers to bowl straight, Brian. You would think that line is going to be straight, but then they've gone very full for wide, almost bowling to his strengths.
We spoke earlier about how well he hits down the ground, and you saw evidence of it there. Good piece of fielding in the deep, actually, to only keep that to 1. But, of course, with that 1, you have Jasker and Malhotra back on strike. Another single on the inner ring. So even though no boundaries have been hit so far in this over here, Nikhil, you're still 4 runs having been scored with 3 balls remaining. And so nothing is really being done to slow the run rate down. And you'd expect with these two as aggressive as they are that at least 1 boundary is still to come in this over.
But he does get the edge, and they get the wicket finally. The MLC team take the wicket of Monak Patel. That's an important wicket in the complexion of this game. And Hamad Azam, good comeback again from him. First over goes for 17. Now just 4 runs and a wicket.
Well, Monak Patel, I think, was looking to play a little bit more square than he's been playing so far. Looking to hit that one towards the mid-wicket area. Thick outside edge. And a pretty easy catch in the end. Just flying 2. That's Bhaskar Yadram, I believe, at a short third man. So the 3rd wicket goes down.
Shayan Jayasuriya completing the catch.
Apologies, Shayan Jayasuriya with the catch. So a 3rd wicket goes down. Batter coming in now. It appears to be, is that Xavier Marshall?
Yeah, it's a change of approach for Marshall today. Usually known for his power play exploits. Just how effective he is in those first 6. But today he's coming at number 5. He's got a different role to play for this USA team. They'll be looking for at least 200 from here, Brian. But Monak Patel, I think, is a crucial wicket because he's someone that carries momentum. And with a wicket like that, you'd never know how the ebbs and flows could go of this innings. Anything less than 200, you think the MLC Composite 11 will be very happy with chasing on a very good track with good batting lineup as well.
I completely agree with you, bearing in mind that the run rate is still north of 10. It's still 10.66. So if they're able to claw their way back into this match, the MLC Composite 11, and hold the score somewhere around the 200 mark, they'll certainly consider that as an advantage. And this back cut, thick outside edge, Shayan Jayasuriya after it, not going to be able to get to it. So 4 more runs to the total.
Well, similar direction of this wicket, but instead it's much finer. So Jayasuriya can't get to it, and they get a boundary. Continue to pick up those boundaries, but it's still very economical over. He's got to close out well. Hamad Azam just going for 7 runs, and you take that at this stage.
Yep.
So it's Marshall off the mark straight away with a boundary. Final delivery of the over. And it will be a dot. So end of 13, USA 139 for 3. And Brian, joining me now will be Dane Pete. See you soon.
Thank you very much, as always, Nikhil. I am honored to be in the presence of greatness for a handful of overs. Great Dane Pete. Dane, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, guys. It's still morning, by the way. It's 11:13. On the East Coast, maybe it's good afternoon.
It's afternoon somewhere.
It's afternoon somewhere, that's correct.
So then it is right on cue. Spinner comes into the commentary box, spinning into the attack. Ali Sheikh, the left arm spin for the first time today. What have you made of these first 13 overs? Then 139 for 3.
Yeah, I was just made our way back from the hotel and been watching it online. A bit of inconsistency by the Composite 11, to be honest. Not quite hitting an area where it's asking too many questions from the USA Invitational team. But hopefully the last 7 overs, or maybe 6.5 overs, they could be, they could be better. And just try to close out the innings out. Just slightly short by Ali Sheikh, first ball of the over. Bit of a top edge from Jasker and Malhotra, and running away for 4.
Yeah, just that traditional spinner's pull down. First delivery into his spell. Ali Sheikh maybe a bit cold. But we have seen this from Malhotra. I don't even think he's really hitting out the middle as yet. If he can switch into that next gear, then you think he could be that main aggressor that they need the USA to get up to that 200. Is 200 a good score on this track from what you've seen so far?
I think so. Having played on the surface yesterday, it was by far the best of the week, and it was consistent. So hitting through the line of the ball would be a lot easier.
Well, he's
Again, looking for some room was Jaskiran. He's got it, and he's taken full advantage of it, cracking the ball through the extra cover region for 4.
Yeah,
It's really important for Ali Sheikh Nick to try and bowl the ball at the stumps. His hands are on his hips. He doesn't look quite happy with the fielding, but that was on the wide line, trying to bowl the ball to the wide field at extra cover sweeper. But
Well, one thing I wonder, though, speaking to some of the spinners yesterday, you can also tell us what you experienced, but a lot of the bowlers that bowl very flat through the air, quicker in terms of spin, they were having trouble with the trajectory, with a lot of balls being held up in the wind and actually coming out as flighted deliveries. So Ali Sheikh had to go to that arm ball a lot more. Look at that piece of fielding from David White, the captain.
Shadley van Schalkwyk.
Sorry, Shadley van Schalkwyk. Hard to tell from so far.
Yeah. Good piece of fielding, and this is what you need going into the back end of your bowling innings. The exploits of the fielders are really, really important to try and reduce that score to under 200, like you said.
Another big swing. It's an edge, but it doesn't matter. It'll be 4 more. This time Xavier Marshall getting on the app. And now it's 13 runs from the over already, Dean.
Yes, it's not the over that David White was looking for, to be honest, and it was an outside edge. But again, if you look at the line that he's bowled to the new batsman, it's really, really wide. So he's going to flay his hands at the ball because of the rate that's north of 10 and over, and getting an outside edge, no matter how it comes, he'll take it. Again, the importance of bowling the ball at the line of the stumps, it gives you a split second, or gives the batsman a split second to look at the ball a bit harder. But when it's off the line of the stumps, he finds it a whole lot easier to get going.
Right on point there. You look at the field that Ali Sheikh has got, the deep backward square, mid-wicket, and the long on. It suggests, and then for the other bowlers as well, it suggests that they want to bowl at the body, want to bowl straight. But I just haven't seen that execution. And there again, has he got bat on it? He has. Xavier Marshall's got to walk. Ali Sheikh, after under some pressure in this over, he strikes.
He brings it back with a wicket. Again, in this kind of setting of a total, it's really important to try and take wickets at regular intervals, which they have done. They've got 4 down at the moment, so it's important that they keep squeezing for the next couple of overs. 6 overs to go. It's really going to be important, but I think the way that Ali Sheikh closed that over really worked in the favor of the MLC composite team. And Xavier Marshall gone for 8 or 5 balls. If you look here again, just straightening a bit of a fumble by Smith Patel, but a good catch in the end to get rid of Xavier Marshall.
Why I give credit to Ali Sheikh for that delivery especially is because he didn't go away from his bread and butter, as they like to say. He still flighted that, and Xavier Marshall obviously took him on. Why I think it's a smart ploy from David White and Ali Sheikh is because Marshall's actually got a hit into the wind, which can be very difficult with those 2 fielders set on the boundary. So in the end, it works for the MLC composite team.
Fully agree with you, Nick. You've got to take the risk sometime, and especially in a run chase or in a bowling innings like this. It's important that you try and really tie down the batsman. Kajanan Singh in now, so the USA Invitational opting for right-left hand combination, which will definitely bring the shorter boundary in now for the if they go with a spin option. But the way it's gone with the wind, David White's used the seamers from what I like to call the forest end, and the spinners from the interstate end.
Which makes sense. No, this big it is. How strong Singh is on the legs. It gives you more margin for error in case you do miss that Yorker.
Spot on. Fully agree with you on that.
But he does try to make him hit it into the offside. Won't go for 4. Should come back for an easy 2.
It's a no ball, Nick. It's a no ball.
Well, Yadram, he can't believe it. Just rubbing salt into the wounds. This is turning out to be a pretty big over as well. That's now 12 from the over thus far and a free hit coming up. What is the thinking, though, as a bowler to someone that's already hit you for 2 boundaries and you over 4 this free hit delivery? Field can't be changed.
I think the most important thing is to go to something that's worked for you year in, year out. So with Bashka Yadram, a good hard length is probably the best option here, but I think you'll go for another Yorker. No change to the field.
Well, he does go length. And Gajanan Singh, good work in the end by Ali Sheikh at that onside boundary to keep it to just 1.
Definitely one of the better fielders in America. Young man throws himself around. Good hands. So good work by the young Ali Sheikh.
Well, he's got a ball now, and he's limping his way to the middle. But we've come to the end of 15, and you think the USA Invitational 11, they've got the perfect platform set to launch into that 200 total. It's 165 for 4. So with 5 overs left, Captain David White just trying to make sure he rings in his bowling changes well. And you look at what's to come with the ball in hand. In terms of options for White at his disposal. He does have the 2 overs of Carmi LaRue. Sure, we'll see him at some stage. Van Skalvik's only bowled 2, but he has conceded 32 runs. Harmeet Singh has still got an over, but very risky to go to spin at this stage. He's going back to Ali Sheikh. You assumed in that he goes to LaRue for his 2. Just 10 runs seems like gold at with the team scoring at 11 runs and over.
Carmine LaRue will definitely be an option at the end, as well as Shadley. Yes, being gone for runs, but we've seen that's a really, really good shot.
Well, that's innovation at its finest. I'm very surprised White has still gone back to Ali Sheikh, given you've got the left-handed Singh not only at the crease, but showing that propensity and the ability to hit boundaries.
And what I found really strange about this is the field setting at the moment. Captain David White still at mid-wicket to the long boundary. I think it would have been a smarter option to try and get Gajanan Singh off strike. Yes, the ball spinning in and then bowling to Jaskir and getting a point, 2 points in to stop the reverse sweep. As we know, Gajanan Singh really prefers playing the reverse sweep. So we can see a field change now, getting the 2 points in, having a big pocket open in the mid-wicket region.
And goes for it again. This time, can't make contact. This is a valuable innings from Jaskar Malhotra, though. He sneaked up to 30. Done it quietly, but he has contributed well and has been able to score very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. He's played really well. Coming in and not taking up too many balls. That's the key in this format of the game. When you just come in and you just need to play properly.
But a good 2 deliveries from Ali Sheikh since conceding that boundary. Dane, as a spinner yourself, always tough to bowl inside the last 5 at the death. We have seen it sort of become more of a norm in the T20 game, but it's never an easy thing to do, to achieve, because of how slow the ball is. Gives the batters time to then plan against each delivery.
I definitely do agree with you, but again, condition dependent. You got to look at the options of how the wind is playing today, for example, or the short boundary, the long boundary, all of those things. And yes, like you said, it's really become a norm in the shorter format of the game, as spinners tend to take wickets at the end as batsmen trying to hit them into the arms of the Lord. But it's really, really important that Ali Sheikh closes it out right now.
Well, a really good piece of fielding on the leg side boundary by Charlie van Schalkwyk. Another one of those gun fielders, as you like to call them. So quick on that boundary. Saves a definite 2 runs for his team.
Definitely, and that's what we need. You know, speaking about it earlier, good in the field, cutting down as many runs as possible, as the US have really sped to 173.
You have more work to do this time. It's Marty Kane. But you would think, as a left-arm spinner bowling to a left-hander inside the death, just 10 runs conceded from the over. A successful one from Ali Sheikh.
Definitely in the context of the game, you'll take 10 runs and over, as they just under 11 runs and over at the moment. But these overs are probably the most important, as I can see Charlie van Schalkwyk making his way to the crease, probably to close out the last 2 overs. And I would like to see Carmine LaRue coming from the interstate end. This is going to be a huge.
So the thinking behind the Ali Sheikh decision was clearly he needed to get 1 over from somewhere. He's got 4 remaining from his 2 strike seamers, and just 4 overs remaining in the innings as well. But then now, with Van Schalkwyk running up against that win, it does give Malhotra an option to go down the ground. The slower Van Schalkwyk may back himself to take him on. Good length though to start from Charlie van Schalkwyk. Always tough, even regardless of the phase, regardless of how many deliveries you've been there, to get under a delivery on a good length to try to hit it for 6.
It's a used phrase in T20 cricket, but every ball becomes an event. But this is like a real main event, as I should say. Yeah, it's going to be important that he really executes his skill. Having played a lot against Shadley in the past, I know that he will tend to bowl length for a long period of time and really take pace off. And that's probably one of the strengths of his game, especially with the ball in hand. So this is going to be really important. I know that Jaskaran really likes the ball under his eyes to pop it over, but if Shadley bowls a good hard length, it's really going to be difficult to get under it. It's an important 22 balls, nonetheless, for the MLC composite 11. So probably trying to restrict them to about 30 runs, which in the end could be chased down.
Well, a loud appeal. Malhotra hit in the process, and he's down.
I think that just missed his pad, by the looks of it. That didn't hit his hip flexor, that's for sure. It looked like... Oh, I think he tweaked it. I don't know what happened there. It looked like it hit his front pad, but he's holding his right hip flexor. Let's have a look here. Oh, my bad. Oh, that did hit his back leg.
It could have been a case of 2 pads, but it's very hard to tell in real time. Short delivery. This is a really good over from Van Schalkwyk. Just 3 singles in the over.
Let's have a look at it again, Nick. Oh.
Looks a good shot. Remember, Dane, that camera's not directly behind,
Yes.
but that back leg was in line with that off stump. So it could be touch and go.
It's been a great over by Charlie van Schalkwyk. Again, showing that a good length on a surface like this is crucial. He hasn't looked too early to go to the Yorker because it blocks out many options for him to go Yorker, Yorker, Yorker. It's a difficult skill to execute, but he's held his length beautifully. The most important ball of the over, Nick.
And it's hit in the air. It's high, and it's 6. Malhotra is known for his 6 hitting, and it goes all the way on one knee, and it just spoils what was such a good over from Van Schalkwyk. Great way to finish for the USA.
Again, Van Schalkwyk looking for length. Wider the crease and in the slot that has made Jaskiran Malhotra really famous for hitting 6s. And he just popped it over the long boundary for 6. 10 off the over. Interesting call here, Nick. Give me your thoughts, please, for the bowling change.
Well, he's got 2 overs of Carmel LaRue, which he can go to. The USA team have scored at 11 runs and over for this entire innings. And he's got his main seamer, who's conceded 10 runs from 2 overs, and he's not gone back to him. I have to say, then I'm shocked. Yes, he may want him to bowl maybe the 18th. Sorry, he would have to be able to bowl 1 over now. LaRue, he's gone to Harmeet Singh, and Gajanan Singh, the left-hander, will be licking his lips at this. Yes, he's hitting against the wind, but still, this is a very bold call. But then, as a spinner yourself, I'm sure you must be happy that the spinners are getting their time to shine in the death. First delivery, pulls out the reverse sweep again, hit on the pad and given straight away. No hesitation from Roshan Samuels. Looked like another arm delivery from Harmeet Singh. Went straight on.
Gajanan Singh signaling his bat to the umpire, but the umpire wanted none of that. LBW. Looked kind of straight. But making us eat our words here, Nick. What a great bowling change by David White in the MLC Composite 11.
Well, they say hindsight is 20/20. And he comes on, he gets the wicket.
Let's have a closer look.
So Gajanan Singh is gone for a good cameo in the end for his team. 22 from just 14 deliveries.
Good piece of bowling by Harmeet Singh, not allowing Gajanan Singh to get underneath the ball to play his favourite reverse sweep shot. But look pretty adjacent, to be fair.
It's also good thinking from Harmeet Singh, and I'll tell you why then. In the last over, he would have watched from the field and seen Gajanan Singh's urge to go to that reverse sweep against the left arm spin. First delivery, outfoxes him with the quicker one that just goes straight on. And Gajanan Singh doesn't have enough time to play what is a very complex shot in the book. So it does.
Spot on.
I think I'm coming for your job then, the analyst's role. But Sushant Modani comes to the middle. And even after some really good bowling from the MLC team, they would have to go at less than a run a ball to not get to that 200 mark. And that's because of the hard work done in the first 10 by Stephen Taylor, by Aaron Jones, and Monak Patel. Just one to get off the mark, Sushant Modani.
Harmeet Singh will really be comfortable in this last 4 balls of his over, even though Jaskiran Malhotra's hit a couple boundaries, but his 2 right-handers in. So he would definitely, knowing Harmeet Singh's mindset, look to bowl smart to Jaskiran. He always says, look to bowl for the cut, but let's see if the surface does allow. That is right there, bowls for the cut. And for Mandani, you'll probably look to hit the stumps for every single delivery. Look to get him out, because a wicket is probably more important at this phase of the game, because it really slows it down. So the USA Invitational 11 will be really disappointed if they don't get over 200. So Harmeet's mindset would look to be getting wickets.
Yeah, that one just grips a bit extra in the surface. But I was going to ask you about the length that Harmeet Singh would bowl to, especially Jaskiran Malhotra. He bowled to the cut, as you said, but he's got no fielder on the point boundary. So it was a brave move in the end. Went straight to the man. But this is turning out to be just the over that David White needed from his spinner. And all of a sudden, I question the move, but a 2-run over and a wicket to go with it. Clearly, I might be in the wrong job. Goes short again, and he can't beat that fielder. This is crucial for the grand scheme of this. It could be game deciding. You know, T20 cricket is such a funny game where we look past these small moments, but pulls this one, but straight again to Shehan Jayasuriya. What an over this is, Dane Pete.
Great captaincy, great bowling, great execution, just good cricket all around. It's great to see. The run chase is going to be really important. As you can see, the ground is littered with Western Conference players. They'll be quite comfortable having played at Morgan Hill. I've heard a lot about Morgan Hill. Haven't played there, haven't had the privilege of playing there. It's a touch windy. So they will be kind of comfortable too playing in these conditions. It's going to be a great run chase. Wickets in hand. It's really gonna make it fun for the viewing public.
And then you look at that team in terms of the MLC Composite 11. The batting, I'll just start calling names. David White, Smith Patel, Shehan Jayasuriya, Milind Kumar, Milanta, and Hamad Azam. So 200 needed. Van Skalvik though, back into the
Shadley
attack.
Van Skalkwyk too. Did some great work for the Thunderbolts last season. Had a bit of a resurgence in the Western Conference to the back end of the competition.
Well, then LaRue was getting some treatment throughout the week. You know, being a fast bowler, a big change for him coming into a lot of cricket this week. I just wonder maybe if fitness had a part to play in terms of him not coming back into the attack. In the end, it worked with Singh being able to get the wicket in the last over. But definitely you would want to go back to your strike bowlers in the death.
Definitely agree with you. And I don't think it was an overrated thing, to be honest. That's why David White was forced to bring on Harmeet Singh. It was definitely a tactical decision and it worked in the end, you know. It's the brave calls in T20 cricket that changes the game. And going into the last 11 balls here, having Madani come in, having Harmeet Singh getting that wicket, it really changes the complexion of the game now, where 210, 215 looked a steady total for the US Invitational 11, but now with a dot ball in the first ball of the over, it could really change the tempo and the flow of the game.
Well, Bonani finally does the right thing, I think, and gets Jaskar Malhotra back on strike. Thought that would have been the main goal at this stage of the innings. With Malhotra well set, well in. Now, how do you bowl if you're Shadi Van Skalvik to Jaskar Malhotra? You've got to try and concede. Anything less than a boundary at this stage is a good result.
I think he'll go Yorker, having been hit over mid-wicket the last ball of the over. Let's see how he executes here.
He goes good length, and it's going to be a wide. But he swung and missed, and Van Skalvik, he couldn't believe it. Have to see. I think that could have been a close call. But he picks that up and picks it up well. That's a huge hit from Malhotra and just became a bit predictable on that length. Van Skalvik, easy pickings for a man who's been there for 23 deliveries and has struck it the way he has.
Great shot, but bowled again in its zone, where he's comfortable in just popping the ball over deep mid-wicket. Marty Kane signaling 4, as he always does, but that was well over his head for 6.
Well, 196 for 5. Still 9 deliveries remaining. From this position, 210 could be on the cards. If Malhotra stays there, 220. You never know. Then he's a dangerous player, 4 away from 50. Well, he goes again, and he's got enough on this. It will be another maximum. This man has made a living from hitting big sixes. Brings up his 50 as well. What a knock it's been for the USA Invitational 11.
It's a great knock by Jaskar Malhotra. Like I said earlier, it's important that the batsmen that follow such a good opening stand really put on the pressure. And that's what he's done. He's gone to 52 of 24 deliveries. A great innings for the 6-hitting machine from North Carolina, Jaskar Malhotra.
Well, it would have always been.
That brings up the 202, Nick. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, spot on, Dane. And it would have always been a big challenge for Vanciavic bowling from that end because he had the wind sort of helping him. Well, sorry, against him, really. It makes him assist Malhotra in hitting down the ground. This time, though, should just be one and will only be a single.
It's really been one of those tough spells today for Shelley van Schalkwyk. Having gone for, I think, 57 in his 3.5 overs. It's one of those spells where you really learn a lot about your game and where you want to be. One of the important players for the team down in Seattle. So it's important that he close out here to try and restrict the USA invitation to under 215, which will be a really, really good total.
Morani can't get a run. And he won't take the single. Malhotra, he wants to strike for the next over. Pretty much, probably wisely in the end. So 203 for 5 into the last over. Dane Pete, your Morrisville Cardinals may be looking at this Malhotra performance. I know there's some uncertainty whether where he plays for the minor league next year. You guys will be wanting him back.
Yeah, of course. Playing at the best ground in the country. We'd want the best players in the country too. So hopefully it ends up with him staying there. He's definitely a match winner. He'll definitely provide a lot of entertainment for the Morrisville public. But again, Nick, an important decision here by David White. It might make us eat our words, but Ali Sheikh is going to bowl the 20th over of the innings. Is that a risk, or will this be something that would really restrict that USA Invitational team to under 215? Mind you, that's 12 runs that Ali Sheikh could kind of concede in this last over.
Good thing I asked the question. You answer them, Dane. Takes me out of the hot seat. Ali Sheikh, first delivery. And Malhotra hasn't got the connection on it. And it will land safely. Would you believe it? So it comes back for 2. But a good start to the over from Ali Sheikh. Tough length to hit.
Great start to the over. Getting 2. But this is good for the young man. Plays for the Irving Mustangs down in Dallas, led by the former New Zealand international Corey Anderson, who has high regards for this young man. I do too, by the way, if it counts for anything. It's all about learning, and I mean, putting these young guys into these kind of situations really makes them learn and grow, especially playing against the best cricketers in the US.
Well, he did really well, Hamad Azam, to keep that to just 1. Malhotra desperately wanted back the strike. Sushant Morani can only sweep for a single. And it's only 4 runs from the first 3 deliveries. And you think keep this under 210. Could be a really good momentum shifting over just what the MLC team needed. This is going to be a cracking run chase though, Dane.
It's going to be a cracking run chase. The names you just rolled off your tongue earlier with what they have in stock.
Well, he picks that one up well. Jayasuri on the boundary, a good fielder, and keeps it to 1. What an over this has been from Ali Sheikh to close out the innings. A young man, under 19, left arm spinner. He's held his nerve well.
Yeah, we had a good conversation last night, myself and Ali Sheikh, last night about spin bowling and bowling in tough, windy conditions. He's really got a spongy mind, if that makes any sense. He's really keen to opening his mind up, and that looks like it could go for 4 byes, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, it's 4 byes. Spoiling a very good over. Yes, it doesn't go towards Ali Sheikh's runs on his scorecard, but it does go towards the team, which takes them to that 212 that we spoke about. So, again, they're edging closer to 215, which I said, Nick. I'm putting my life on the line here for that. But yes, it's going to be important. Wickets in hand will really come in play here.
And Morani again goes to the sweep. Last ball doesn't look to hit it out the park. And that will be the completion of the innings. So 213 the USA get to. And if you ask Mona Patel ahead of this innings, if he would take that, you better believe he would. That's a superb first innings total, and it will be a challenge for this MLC team to chase. 51 at the top for Stephen Taylor. Starts from Jones, Patel, but Malhotra through the middle really carried on that innings.
Yeah, it was a really well put together innings. Just Xavier Marshall just not getting into double figures, but everyone else did, and it's a perfect batting lineup. And yes, you can see a couple of high economy rates for the MLC Composite 11. A tough day, but really strange not to see Carmine LaRue complete his 4 overs. He really bowled nicely up front. But again, good to see the young Ali Sheikh and Harmeet Singh, the ever-present Harmeet Singh, bowling a real good spell of 4 overs, 2 for 27.
So here you have some of the action, the highlights. Harmeet Singh got the first wicket of Aaron Jones. Then Baskey Adram was able to get Stephen Taylor just held out in the win.
Good catch by Mohammad Zia.
Mona Patel just getting a leading edge. Easy catch in the end for Shayan Surya. And here's where you really wondered if the MLC team could fight back. Van Skalvik able to... really had a tough day at the office bowling to Malhotra.
And here again, just popping over his favorite leg side region. Again, this is probably the one where Marty Kane said it was 4, but it was well over his head for 6. This was really what the US Invitational needed to the back end of the innings. A couple of 6s to get that total over 200. But again, we're going to speak about the bowling that the USA Invitational needs to do to restrict a powerhouse MLC Composite 11. And you can see there, 213 the total, 214 the MLC needs to get.
Well, don't move a muscle. This run chase will be jaw-dropping, entertaining, and very thrilling. See you very soon, where the MLC team will need 214 for victory.
Welcome back to the start of the chase. Target of 214 for the MLC Composite 11. As Jaskaran Malhotra and Stephen Taylor both with half centuries, taking advantage of by far the windiest conditions I've seen in American domestic cricket, Brian. Winds are gusting somewhere between 35 and 45 miles an hour, and sometimes they're going over 50. And that's led to an awful lot of 4s and 6s going from the highway end, hitting to the forest end. Is Saurabh Netravalkar comes in with the first delivery to Smit Patel, and he's off the mark immediately with a single to mid-wicket. Brian Walters, what did you make of that ferocious hitting display from Jaskaran Malhotra?
Well, we've only said it 100 times, Peter, that Jaskaran, one of 4 people to hit 6 sixes in an over in international cricket. So he's a tremendous 6-hitter, and he absolutely took advantage of the windy conditions. Brutally windy. Just speaking to the umpires before the inning started, they mentioned just umpiring alone is difficult. Just standing in one place is very difficult.
Well,
So
they took the zing bails off midway through the innings, Brian,
Yep.
and that just shows how windy it is. Those zing bails are about 2.5 times as heavy as your normal bails, and they were blowing all over the places. Another tight single is taken by David White, the MLC captain today.
On the other hand of the equation, 215 is a big target, 214 rather. But you can't, the old phrase, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you're not going to be able to score 215 or 213 runs in one over. But what you need to be able to do is just make sure that you're scoring off of every ball. Dot balls are your enemy. And, of course, if you're needing to go at the rate of 10.78 and over, which is what it is right now, you're certainly having to make sure that everything that you do is consistent with being able to manufacture runs. You just don't want that pressure to be building up because, obviously, a few dot balls in a row and that hill to climb becomes that much steeper.
And another single picked off through mid-wicket by Smit Patel. Yesterday's commentary from Brian Walters was made possible by Halls, and today it's made possible by Lifesavers, I see. That is the throat lozenge du jour.
In fairness, I didn't bring these here. These were handed to me a handful of minutes ago, but you know what? You put candy in front of me, I'm going to eat it.
And a big appeal from Saurabh Netravalkar, but David White just outside the line.
Peter, there's a smorgasbord of lifesavers here.
We have enough lifesavers for both squads. Justin Gill has just unleashed the stash.
In the meantime, great over here so far by Saurabh Netravalkar.
Well, he's somebody who I talked to him a couple of days ago. What I found fascinating is he runs in for the final ball of the over. And this one is chipped into mid-wicket for one. Only 4 runs, 4 singles and then over. 4 for none after one. And I asked him, why was he so successful bowling into the wind, taking that 5-wicket haul a few days ago? It was so impressive because he utilized the conditions. But he's running uphill into the wind, and he was the most skillful bowler. You see these tall, quick bowlers here. They've got the wind at their back. They've got that extra burst. And they weren't nearly as effective as Saurabh. I said, Saurabh, what was the key to your success? We were having a chat on the way back to the parking lot, and he said, kind of looked at me a little bit funny, and he says, Peter, I've been running into the wind my entire career. Every USA squad I've been in has got Ali Khan or Rusty Tehran or Cameron Stevenson. I've not once in the entire time I've been playing in the U.S. and even going back to India, never ever have I had the option to bowl with the wind at my back.
Sure.
So I think I know a little bit about how to bowl into the wind, Peter.
Look,
Yes.
if you're a big, powerful pace bowler, you find it an insult to be asked to run into the wind. But if you're as skillful as Sarb Natravalkar is, you know exactly how to use those conditions to your advantage.
And now Vatsal Vagel, I talked about this in the first innings with you, Brian, about not seeing spin introduced early enough with the new ball, and here is that new ball spin. Vatsal Vagel, left arm around the wicket, so straight away, and he's on the money. He's got David White hitting into the wind, so David White wants to utilize the wind. He's going to be looking to play that sweep shot, shuffle across to try and scoop it over fine leg. He's got protection at long off and deep mid-wicket. But the wind is blowing left to right and behind David White. And there is that reverse sweep. We saw that so effectively from Gajanath Singh and a few other players in the first innings. And it comes out in the second over for 2 runs to David White. And again, part of the reason why is the utilization of conditions. Playing that sweep or the reverse sweep, to that end, you're going to get a lot of help from the wind to take it towards the boundary.
In the meantime, I like the aggression being shown here by Manan Patel to introduce the spinner in the power play overs, asking these openers, knowing that they have to score quickly, asking them if they want to hit powerfully, they're going to have to hit down the ground into the wind. So I think that's a great option. You're essentially, at this point, they're looking upward of 11 runs and over to win this game. And so that scoreboard pressure will continue to build as you go throughout this innings. I think bringing Vagela in to open is a great move.
And keeping it tight, limiting David White to a single, just tap and run into the covers. So solid first 4 deliveries here from Vatsal Vagela, the 20-year-old out of the San Francisco Bay Area. And he's got his dad, I would imagine Mahesh is watching the coverage today. He's a very keen follower of cricket in general, but especially when Vatsal is playing.
Oh, sure.
Or when Asani is playing. His sister, of course, made her debut for the USA Women's National Team in October in Mexico. And another good delivery here, varying his pace, varying his flight.
Varying his line, too, because you note that they brought in the long off. He's now inside the circle at mid-off, and there's now a sweeper on the offside. So that suggests a wider line. That's exactly what Vagela did there.
And what a beautiful shot here from
That's lovely.
Smit Patel. So clever and, again, so cagey. Used in the conditions. Saw that from a number of the USA players, and Smit Patel taking advantage of the wind. Just a delicate late cut, no slip in place, so it's a safe shot. And the wind just helps it on its way to the boundary. 11 for no loss after 2.
Again, considering that you have an elephant to eat, you do it one bite at a time. It's a very delicate late cut. And again, yes, Peter, you're absolutely right. Using the wind conditions. Again, as you see on that shot, the ball is going in the direction of where, meaning after it was played, it's going in the direction where the wind is blowing. So the wind is going to help that ball get toward the boundaries. So just an excellent piece of batsmanship on the part of Smit Patel. On the part of David White, rather. Check that. That was Smit Patel.
And now we're going to get Jesse Singh to replace Saurabh Netravalkar after just one over. Check that, excuse me. Wearing the jersey of Jesse Singh. Jesse's not in the lineup today, but Jesse's letting Abhiram Valisamagari borrow his shirt number 99 today. They're keeping us on our toes here, Brian Walters.
Well, Peter, I default to you and all the identification of the players. Oh, hammered. Great
And
strike. It's going to be 4. Good.
Nostush Kenjige at long off did his best to try and cut that off, but again, you're just dealing with a ferocious wind flying into your face, and he couldn't knock that down as a blistering drive goes back over the head of Ali Samagari, and there you see Kenjige sliding, and you can see the camera wobbling. That just shows how strong the wind is that the players are having to deal with out there.
Well, conditions are so difficult for batting and for fielding.
Ali Samagari, who played for USA Under 19 in 2019 in Toronto, was part of that same squad with Ali Sheikh and Saimu Kamala and Vatsal Vagela.
Good comeback delivery, not quite as full on this occasion. Just that hard length and defensively played there by Captain David White.
Ali Samagari, based in Texas, born and raised in the Dallas area. Tries a slower ball now. Good change of pace. And it keeps David White off balance enough to limit him to a single.
Well, as a captain of the bowling side here, you have a lot of runs to defend. What you're wanting to make sure from your bowlers is that there are no extras, and you're making sure that the batters score off of your best balls. So good change of pace on that occasion by Bala Samagari. Just a slower delivery, and again, just David White slightly out in front of that shot.
And there it goes. Smith Patel downtown over long on.
Wow.
And it goes all the way for 6. Just a bit too full from Bali Samagari.
Yeah, as I mentioned, you want them to hit your best balls. What you don't want is to give half volleys on leg stump, which is what this last one was. Right in the slot. Again, that angle from over the wicket, angling the ball into Smith Patel. And under normal circumstances, Smith Patel is an aggressive player. But when you're chasing another 192 runs for victory, you're going to think that he's going to want to go after anything that is slightly off in terms of line or length. This one a little too straight and hammered over mid-wicket for 6.
You can see how much Ali Samagari is laboring, trying to run into the wind. And this one is laced over square leg. Another boundary. Nothing Vatsal Vagela can do with that. He's going to have Reed Richards' arms stretching to pull that one down, Brian.
Now, that's not a small point that you just made, Peter. Running into the wind is hard. Now, if you're a spinner, and I can't imagine that they bring a spinner on from that end, but at least the spinner doesn't have as much work to do. But if you're a pace bowler who generates momentum from your run-up, that stiff wind, 40 or so miles an hour, you're running into that wind, that completely disturbs your rhythm, it disturbs your timing, it disturbs the very delivery itself. So this is really hard work that this young man, Vala Samagari, is being asked to do.
And it's something that he's not used to. At junior level, he's always been the fastest bowler.
Yep.
He's always the one who gets the bowl with the wind at his back.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going against what his customary end would be, and this one's quite high.
Yep.
Ambitious appeal from Vali Samagari. 15 runs in the over, 26 for no loss after 3.
You know, sometimes the most vociferous appeals are on deliveries that strike the pad a ball or two after you've been hammered for a couple. So I think that appeal was more potentially out of relief that he actually got a dot ball out of the equation. 15 runs from that over. A long, long way to go here for the MLC composite side, but that last over was a good one for them.
He's a baby in the senior national team setup, so he's just exercising his lungs. He wants to make sure that they work, Brian. Just give it a good, strong shout. Vatsal Vagela about to start his second over here from the Highway 290 end. And this one punched back to Vagela. Now, Brian, we've had some fans come out to the ground today. I was just talking to a couple of them. They're from
Fantastic.
Cyprus.
Oh, fantastic.
They made the 25-minute drive along 290. Saw it looked like a grandfather along with 2 young kids who are out here enjoying the first innings as well. Can see cricket growing in this part of the world.
Well, out here in Prairie View, it's a bit separated from everything else. As you mentioned, Cyprus about 25 minutes away, and Cyprus itself is about 20 or so minutes away from downtown Houston. So Prairie View, the island, Prairie View, the town, is a little bit, in fact, it's kind of like an island. It's a little isolated. But
I'm staying in Cyprus, Brian, because it's the last part of civilization before you get on 290 and continue on to Prairie View. There's an awful lot of open highway between Cyprus and Prairie View to get to this complex. But Cyprus has got a lot of things to do, and there's a lot to do for Valisa McGarry to try and cut this off. He can't get there. Another boundary for Smith Patel, sweeping it behind square. And again, using the wind to his advantage, Brian.
Absolutely. Anything that is hit in that direction. Again, the wind is coming from the southwest. So it's blowing, as you see the bowler, behind the bowler's arm, it's blowing from the bottom left to the top right. So anything in that direction will be aided by the wind.
And this time, top edge. It's going to backspin away towards the rope and get there with ease. Another boundary, not quite where Smith Patel intended, but still counts for 4 on the scorecard nonetheless.
Oh, he's not going to care that did not go anywhere near where he was looking. I think he was aiming in this direction toward us here in the commentators area. Thick outside edge and the ball flying back in that direction. Flying. The Crow is absolutely laboring and staying in one place trying to fly against that wind.
I was going to say, Brian. And this one is going to go over mid-wicket for 6. Big blow struck by Smith Patel. 4-4-6 to end the over. 15 more runs added to the total as MLC Composite 11 keeps pace with the required run rate. 41 for no loss after 4.
Wow, consecutive 15-run overs. So the first over yielded 4 runs. The next 7, then the next 2 have gone for 30 between them. Looking at the big picture here, Peter, the required rate where we stand right now is 10.81. The actual run rate is 10.25. So they're in the neighborhood. What you're wanting to do if you're the MLC Composite side is just stay in the fight. And it's not unheard of that this team could actually put on, they bat very deep. They bat 7 or 8 down. It is very possible that this game goes all the way down to the wire.
And we've got another bowling changes. Netravalkar, who had the new ball in hand, and returns to the attack for the 5th over. Around the wicket to David White. Big appeal. Looked very straight, and it is. The finger goes up, and the fists go up as well from Saurabh Netravalkar. David White playing across the line, and even though we're at a third-man angle in this commentary box, Brian, it just looked very, very good from here.
Well, left arm around the wicket, very full. Hit him almost on the half volley, and this, from our perspective, it appeared that ball would have hit him maybe halfway up on the front pad. Yeah, we're not directly in line. We're more third man here. But just looking at the replay, left arm around.
The only doubt really was he hit outside the line of off stump, but it was definitely going to hit the stumps.
Yeah. That would have been the only thing that umpire Jermaine Lindo had to think about, because I think that's definitely smashing into the stumps. From that angle, probably hitting middle and leg. Only question to be asked is whether or not that was hit outside the line of off stump. But that does not matter in the context of this game. Here we go with the replay again.
I think he got an unfortunate decision there. If you look at the replay, I think David White is clearly outside the line of off stump. I'll try and wind it back and get one more look at it for you. But on the initial looks on the replay, we'll slow it down. It looks like he got his entire body outside the line of off stump.
Here we go on the replay. Now, bearing a bit of an optical illusion because it's where he is hit, not necessarily where the rest of his body is. So very hard to tell. Again, we're not directly in line. The camera is not directly in line where we don't have the same sight that the umpire does. But tight call either way. Umpire Jermaine Lindo thinking about it and then adjudging that one in favor. You have a quizzical look on your face, Peter.
If David White was really thinking, he could have just walked all the way across the stumps, let the ball hit the stumps, and he could have said, not out. There's no bails. I don't know. I didn't think he hit anything. As Shehan Jayasri is now at the crease, in case you're just joining us, it's so windy here today. If you're looking at the camera right now, you can see there's no bails on the stumps. Even with the zing bails, it's too windy to keep those from blowing off. I was wondering if when Gajanath Singh got bowled, he was going to say that, Umpire Lindo, I don't know what you're talking about.
The flashing red lights might have had a different opinion on that one.
As Shehan Jayasri flicks this by Xavier Marshall, but Marshall tracks this down very well. Great effort, and Valisa McGarry cleaning up after him to keep it to 2. And part of the reason why Xavier Marshall is able to chase that down, the wind is blowing the ball back into play. Wind is coming from the highway end, so that Xavier Marshall running towards the Highway 290, and that's where the wind is blowing from. So that helps an awful lot. And a good effort by him because he's running into the wind. He's got to force his way through the wind.
Yep.
A great effort by the X-Man.
Well, he's Jamaican, so you know he's a good sprinter. That's the first thing. Jayasuriya just play this one into the offside for a quick single. A lot of work to do. The last 2 overs have yielded 30 runs, but this over so far, the 5th over, the second by Natravalka, only 3 runs so far with 2 balls to come and a wicket. So if you are the MLC Composite 11, you're now starting to think, okay, we need to manifest.
Edge. If it goes to final leg, it's just going to swirl up in the air for Stephen Taylor. There's no way it's going to go anywhere close to the boundary.
Yep.
This time Milan Kumar chops this to Aaron Jones in the covers.
Even with the 3 wides conceded, it's still a very economical over. The last 3 overs, Peter, have yielded 6, 6, and thus far 6 with 2 balls to come. So, again, keeping an eye on that required rate. That required rate now inching up to 11.63. So, slowly turning the screws here as USA Invitational 11. And MLC Composite have some work to do.
This time, Milan Kumar can't get it away. So, Vali Samagari tucking him up. Just bending his back that little bit extra. Try and force this ball through the wind. And again, Vali Samagari, somebody who at junior level, he's been clocked at over 140 kilometers per hour. He can get it above 85 miles per hour. But Monak Patel standing up to the stumps, that just shows how much of a battle he's having trying to bowl into the wind.
Wow.
And this time Kumar is going to get a single out to Vagela again. At deep square leg. So you said it, Brian, a fantastic over in the context of the game. Just 6 runs, 4 off the bat, 59. Check that. 60 for 2, 7 runs in the over with the 3 wide. 60 for 2 after 7.
Oh, look at this, Peter. Look at the big sign that says welcome to Prairie View. Flying across the way. It has been ripped off of its moorings by the strong wind.
Welcome to Prairie View. Goodbye, Prairie View sign. That's what's happening, Brian.
Here you see that looks like Josh Dascombe, and that might be Obas Pinar out there with him, retrieving that sign. Really brutal conditions here. Whether you're batting, bowling, fielding, or umpiring, it is really just a difficult day to be out on the cricket field. But that does not mean that you don't continue going, and certainly if you're the USA, you're wanting to make sure that you're continuing to turn the screws as we go back to Yasser Mohammed.
And almost a return catch as this one is driven straight to Malhotra. That long on. And Mohammed sticking his paw out, but it was just wide and eludes Smith Patel at the non-strikers in as well.
Jaskaran Malhotra. Not often that you see him as a boundary rider. Usually he's in the inner circle. Interestingly, a couple of overs ago, you saw him turning his arm over, practicing his leg spin as though he might be called on. I'm wondering if at some point he'll be called on to bowl in this innings.
Full toss. It's going to hang in the air. Xavier Marshall running in.
It's a no
Doesn't
ball.
put in the effort.
No ball. It's a no ball. That is a huge, huge call. A full toss above waist height. Immediately signal no ball by umpire Jermaine Lindo at the forest end. So 1 run to the total, but more importantly, this next delivery is going to be a free hit.
I'm curious. Maybe we can see after the free hit. That looks like an awfully generous call from square leg, I got to say, Brian. Especially for a spin bowler. And they only get a single off the free hit straight to Aaron Jones, and they run on contact. I'd love to see this delivery again if we get a chance. Where it crossed.
I do have to say, looking at it live, it certainly appeared to be close to no ball for me. And, of course, again, we would need to be somewhere square of the wicket to be able to officially make that call. Look at that.
Clever from Smith Patel. Was waiting for that. Called for it from Shehan Jayasuriya. And Smith Patel does it now again. That scoop over fine leg. Using the wind. That's the highest percentage shot, really, with
Yes.
the field setting in the wind. This is a very intelligent shot. All he's got to do is just get it up in the air, and it's going to sail over Sorbonne Chavalkar at short fine leg, and you can see him. Look at how far Sorbonne Chavalkar is running. He's almost to the boundary at the adjacent field, Brian.
Now, Roddy, I don't know whether or not you have time to go back and look at that full toss again, but I'm thinking, looking at it live, I thought it was close to being a no ball.
Look at where Sorbonne Chavalkar is. Now he's already run back 25 yards. He's now back at the boundary. He was at the long on boundary.
Yep.
He's collecting
there
that
he
ball.
comes.
That's how far the ball sailed. When Sorbonne Chavalkar went to collect it, he's only now just getting up the hill. But
Wow.
he's had to run a good 60 yards to fetch that ball. That's how far the wind is taking it.
Boy. These blustery conditions have resulted in a little bit of a break here as that wind kept carrying that ball going over into the adjoining field, the field just northeast of where we are here at the Prairie View field number 5.
And that was Rohan Fadke, North Carolina teenager running drinks on. And you could see him trying to build up ahead of steam to get through the wind is Yasser Muhammad. Now it's the ball back in hand, and this time can't get it past Aaron Jones. Diving stop in the covers.
Wow. Again, in the context of where things are right now, this is swept down to square leg. That's Balasamagari. Another single. But once again, even with the excitement and a couple of additional things going on, the full toss, no ball, and all of that, still only 9 runs from this over so far with 1 ball to come.
This time it just flicked away. And Chavalkar at final leg will circle around to field it. So it's 9 runs off the bat in the no ball, 10 runs total in the over, 70 for 2 after 8, chasing a target of 214. It's not often, Brian, that you come across a cricket match, even in a T20 match, where going at 8 runs per over makes you one of the star bowlers for the day, but that's just what Yasser Muhammad is doing right here.
Or if you're the captain, Manak Patel will definitely take 8 runs and over from here because that definitely is a winning rate. And he clean bowled him full and straight. Balasamagari does the trick for his captain. The 3rd wicket goes down, 70 for 3.
Well, it was a big heave. You could see what Milan Kumar was trying to do there. He's trying to get the ball into the air, and it's going to go for 6, and you get it up in the wind.
Yep.
So he was trying to go big, hitting with the wind, and instead, Javier Balasamagari finds the bullseye. Right on middle stump, middle of middle. It's a 50-pointer, Brian.
That's a 50-pointer. If you look where Smith Patel was playing that shot, he was aiming at mid-wicket. Essentially, you're playing across a very straight ball. One thing you don't want to do because the chances of you missing playing against a straight ball are much, much higher. In fact, the closest thing to playing across a straight ball, Peter, since you're a baseball guy, it's very similar to a baseball batter trying to hit. And the best batters in the world are out 60% of the time. So that tells you some idea of how difficult it is to score when you're playing across the delivery that straight. And, of course, paying the ultimate price on that occasion was Smith Patel.
Well, here Malanta is the new player arriving for the MLC Composite 11, and it means Javier Balasamagari is going to go around the wicket now. Malanta, a left-hander. So a change of angle for Balasamagari charging in again. This time just flick gently along the turf to long on for a single to get off the mark immediately. Malanta, one of a large contingent of players from North Carolina this week, originally from Sri Lanka, but he played for Morrisville Cardinals. This past year, we've got Dane Pete and Obis PNR who have switched. They're going to be part of the Morrisville Cardinals this upcoming season. And then the teenagers, of course, Aditya Gupta, Rohan Phadke, and Abhiram Bolasetti. Now Smit Patel back on strike. And a late cut again. He's going to pick up one. Ismail Hotra is there on the ring at short, third man. Cut it off.
Keeping an eye on the relevant numbers. Really the only two relevant numbers on the scorecard. The required rate now up to 12.35.
And this one sliced behind point. Good work from Vatsal Vagela. Saves 3 runs. Youngster continuing that tradition that's been part of the USA national team in the last couple of years of quality left arm spinners who are also quality fielders at backward point. Astush Kenjige, Kareem Agor,
Yep.
Sanjay Krishnamurti, Vatsal Vagela, Marty Kane. And this one chopped, and it'll be another single past the stumps to short fine leg.
First evidence of one keeping just a touch low on that occasion, Peter. But again, with 1 ball remaining here in the 9th over, score is 7-4. More importantly, from this over, only 4 runs so far and a wicket. So if you are the MLC Composite 11 side, you're actually decelerating at the point in the innings where you'd want to be accelerating, because the required rate now above 12. You're at 12.54. So you're needing essentially 2 runs off of every ball from this phase of the innings onward. So the job is certainly becoming more and more difficult.
Slower ball here from Vali Samagari, and we'll hear Molanto adjust to punch it out to the sweeper, Sushant Madani. Just a single down, and that is a fantastic over. 5 singles and a wicket by Abhiram Vali Samagari. Doing great work here in his home state. 75 for 3 after 9, chasing a target of 214.
Seven and 5 for 3. MLC and Composite 11, another 139 runs adrift of their targets.
And I mentioned that
Another left-handed spinner.
the flotilla of left-handed spinners.
Flotilla.
Here comes another
A
one.
smorgasbord, if you will.
Nastush Kenjige, who wears number 64 on his thigh. His USA jersey, I think it's stuck in the hotel laundry, Ryan. He's got his polo shirt on today, as he has throughout much of the week. Coming around the wicket, Talihira Malantha. And this one is sliced just wide of Aaron Jones. It's going to be collected by Xavier Marshall at cover sweeper for 1.
That scoreboard pressure going to start to build and increase with these very economical overs being bowled here by the USA Invitational 11.
I'm just keeping my eye on Smit Patel playing that late cut, and that short third man, Yasser Mohammed, is moving a lot finer to deny that shot. And he responds by playing the orthodox sweep out to deep square leg. Vali Samagari keeping it to 1.
Certainly the case, Peter, when you're chasing such a large target. It's demoralizing to know that every single actually makes your job harder. Needing to score at the rate of more than 2 runs off of every ball. So every time you score a single, it makes it more difficult, and that required rate continues to increase.
I'm just seeing a lack of creativity from Malanta here. In these conditions, you got to really be looking to play shots behind square. He's really tried to muscle the ball in front of square, and a bit mystified as to his strategy here because your best scoring options at this venue are behind square. And Smith Patel, there he goes, slicing it behind point. We saw that a number of times in the first innings from USA. Ronak Patel and Jaskaran Malhotra, and that's an easy 2.
Interesting, Peter. Look at where Nush Kanjiga is releasing this ball from. He's actually releasing it from behind the stumps. Not even coming close to the popping crease on that delivery. Just an element of variety. Look where he releases it. Still well behind the stumps. Attempted sweep there is missed. I'm wondering what the reasoning is for that because
the only thing I can think of, Brian, is that he wants to continue with his natural arm action, and if he goes all the way to the crease,
here, look at the replay.
The ball is going to come too far. He's going to be bowling full tosses. He wants to keep his normal arm action, his normal arm speed, and he's letting the wind do the work. That's what I can see happening.
Very interesting.
And there is that attempted reverse sweep, but Smith Patel can't get it away. It's a great spot by you, Brian, on Kanjige's delivery point. 5 runs in the over, 80 for 3 at the halfway point. Well behind the required run rate of the target of 214. And I'm going to step aside as Nikhil Uttamchandani will take you the rest of the way.
Steven Taylor into the attack for the USA Invitational 11. Have about a lot of spin, Brian. But well on their way. Just kind of 8 runs and over the MLC team.
Yep. Needless to say, the task is extremely difficult. They have a very steep uphill battle the rest of the way. The game thus far very much in favor of the USA Invitational 11, bringing Steven Taylor on, who is a handy spinner in his own right. And the work is being made that much harder by the conditions. MLC Composite 11 had a couple of overs in the 15-run range early in the chase, but the last several overs they've been pegged back by good economical bowling and good fielding, both in the inner circle and in the deep, by the USA 11.
The wind just really blows that. Has he got him down the leg side? The umpire says no. Oh, he was in with a stumping one up Patel. Let's have a look at that back leg. Did it strike out? The crease seems pretty much firmly down. It does come out, but he just stays down. So, ooh. The key there would have been when he did take off the bails.
Yeah, exactly.
Patel, did he take them off before that? Right leg lost balance.
Steven Taylor firing this one through, and it's going to be a wide.
Sorry, I said whip off the bails, but of course, Brian, there are no bails.
No bails. No bails. Very windy conditions, so the umpires did away with the bails several overs ago.
Have you ever seen that in cricket?
I've seen it at our level of cricket, club cricket. I've never seen it in conditions where, you know, the level of cricket is so high and the professionals are playing. That I've never seen. Now, in international cricket, there are some the heavy weather or high wind bails that are a lot thicker and a lot heavier than the typical bails that you use. I don't know that these are available here. This is hoisted down the ground. That's a clean strike. It's going to run away for 4. They need a whole lot more of these if you're the MLC Composite 11.
Well, just very full from Steven Taylor. Milanta cashes in with the win as well.
Yep.
So we'll have that assistance. They got to get a move on, the MLC Composite 11, if they want to have a chance of winning this game. That required rate well past 11.5 and over.
Well, required rate is actually north of 13 and over. And you're going to want to make sure, if you are the MLC Composite 11, that you're looking to cash in on any scoring opportunities. This is powered away in the same direction, same result, goes for 4. So this is a productive over. We'll double check the score shortly, but I believe that's 14 runs that have just come from this over. So they need a lot more of those. The required rate now in the area of 13.3, and a lot more of that needed.
So back to our boundaries. It means 14 runs have come off the over. Still the one delivery remaining. Milanta finally opening up. They need a lot more of that sort of power hitting. Goes again, Lahira Milanta, and it will be the same result, this time 6. So 14 runs from the last 3. Taylor concedes 20 in his first, and much more of what's needed from the MLC composite team.
Well, the 100 is up, and a well-needed big over. First over in several that have yielded double-digit runs. Going all the way, well, check that. Going back to the 8th over that yielded 10 runs. Before that, overs 3 and 4 yielded 15 runs each. But since that, this is certainly the biggest over. 20 runs, the biggest over of the innings so far. 114 runs adrift from the target, but that actual run rate now up to 9.09. The required rate just from that one big over is down to 12.67. So still game here. We're still nowhere near the end, and everything can happen from this stage on. But what's required here from the MLC Composite 11 is that they continue to be aggressive and continue to push forward toward that victory.
Well, the USA team were 100 after 10. The MLC won over later, but they're still in with a chance.
Yep.
And a lot of spin, a lack of pace options today. No Rusty Theron, no Jasdeep Singh in this USA team. Does get this one through. Wants to Smith Patel and easily gets it in the end.
Can jig it back for his second over.
And with that too, goes to a half century, Smith Patel. So 2 days where he's got 2 half centuries. And he's single-handedly got his team in a position where they can strike, looking for that 214 for victory.
Of course, a lot of heavy lifting between now and then, but you know, you start off with 50 up from 28, and that certainly puts you in the position to get to where you need to get. And there's 4 more.
Well, Yasser Mohammed on the boundary, he's quick, but not quick enough. So in the last couple of overs, the boundary is really beginning to flow in.
Mm-hmm. Boy, a long way to go, but look, the last 8 deliveries have yielded 26 runs. So you're certainly pushing in the right direction if you are the MLC Composite 11. Smith Patel now up to 54 from 29, ably assisted by Lahiru Milanta. He's 22 from 11, striking it at 200. So, yeah, a long way to go, but goodness, you're almost halfway through. You know, I've said a couple of times so far, Nikhil, that the halfway point, meaning in terms of runs scored, is generally around the 12th over. So they're keeping up with exactly where they need to be.
So Smith Patel will back himself to take on this challenge. Pulls out the switch hit. Doesn't quite get it though. And should just be one. So the MLC Composite 11 in these last couple of overs much improved in terms of where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you just think Smith Patel's wicket now so crucial to this run chase.
And Nico, we highlighted this the last time, but look where Nosh Kenjiga is releasing the ball from well behind the stumps. Oh, cutaway behind, backward point. That's going to run away for 4.
Yeah.
Another boundary.
You really expected Saurabh Netravalkar to clean that up
Yep.
in the inner circle, but instead it goes through him. And Milanta able to open the face at the last second.
Yep.
Runs beginning to flow now for the MLC team, and worry beginning to set in, you would think.
So Peter Della Pena highlighted this last time. The idea is with the wind blowing with such force across the ground, aiding that drift by Kenjiga from left to right as you see his deliveries, the further he allows that ball to travel, then the greater the amount of drift that he's able to get, which is why he's probably been releasing it from that far back. Punch into the outfield and a quick double taken. So yes, runs absolutely flowing. 33 runs from the last 11 deliveries, with 1 ball to come here in the 12th.
But because of that win, I thought you would, as if you're Nosh Kenjiga, you want to bowl full, you want to challenge these batters. Some really strong dust blows across the field. You can see it.
Yeah. Wow. You even see that Lahira Milanta himself is taking some time because apparently that dust is impeding, getting into his eyes and impeding his vision, obviously, because that stiff wind, if you look directly to our west, which is where the wind is blowing from, there's a wide open field over there, dirt field, and so it's whipping up a lot of dirt and blowing it back in this direction. So that does not help the batters in any way. Oh, look
You're
at
gonna have
this.
to hurry. Should be a run out, but instead, it looks like the throw from Netravalkar just wasn't. I didn't have enough pace on it to get back to the bowler. He realized it late, and the breeze actually is what slows down that delivery from Netravalkar and allows Milanta to get home in the end. He slipped. That could have been problematic.
Yep.
But instead, it's 14 runs from the over. They're going up close to that 10-run and over mark where they need to be. The MLC team, 114 for 3.
So a very productive passage of play. The last 2 overs have yielded 34 runs. The actual run rate for the MLC Composite 11 has snuck up to 9.5. The required rate around 12.5. So what you want if you're at MLC is for those 2 numbers to continue to converge. And in a move to be able to attempt to blunt the onslaught by the MLC Composite 11, Captain has gone back to Saurabh Netravalkar, his strike bowler. Big swipe and a miss outside off stump. Not able to make contact that time is Lahira Milanta. A dot ball to start things here in the 13th.
So a great first 2 overs, just 10 runs on a wicket for Netravalkar. But it is a risk to go back to him at this stage.
Bang.
But he's really connected with that Milanta. Wow. And he's got it all the way for a maximum. So he moves up now into the 30s. And does this game have one final twist, twisting the way of the MLC?
Wow. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but the wind on that occasion absolutely aiding that shot by Milanta. That slap across the ground, flying in the direction of mid-wicket, and once you get that ball elevated, it is definitely aided, assisted by the wind blowing in that direction. Our estimate at this stage is around 40 miles an hour, so that definitely would have helped that ball to travel in that direction. So 6 more to Milanta. He now moves on to 35 from 15 balls faced, make that 16 balls faced. And you just get the sense here, Nikhil, that there are going to be one or two more twists. Because a lot can happen. The conditions are such that they're not necessarily helping one side versus the other. And a long way to go here. Appeal for the LBW, and he is given him. Wow, that is huge. The slow finger of death being raised by umpire Jermaine Lindo. And Lahira Milanta is going to have to walk back. The fourth wicket goes down, the score 120 for 4.
Well, how often have we seen that? A 6 and then a wicket. Milanta just caught in front. And in the end, he's got to walk back. Well played 35 though, striking at over 200. Just the innings that they needed to get them back on track to chase this total. Came a long way across. Always a big problem. You can see leg, you can see middle.
Oh, dead straight.
Easy decision in the end.
Wow.
Was that hit on the back leg though? That's the key. Hard to tell from there. And if he was hit on the back leg, was he outside the line?
I don't think he was outside the line. I think that was dead straight. I think that's hitting middle. I don't know. I don't think it matters whether it was the back leg or the front leg. It was a very full delivery. I think that's banging into middle stump. I think that's a great decision by Jermaine Lindo.
Well, here's it again. And just if we can slow it down right. If he's hit on the back leg, Brian, that's far outside.
Notice that he moves his back leg a couple of times after he was hit. That's where he just planted it. That's where he was hit. So even if we can see, yeah, looking at this again, here we go. Look where his back leg is now. It's actually outside the line of leg stump. Moves across. Look where it pitches. It pitches middle and leg, and it's straightening. We're shielded from the actual point of contact by Netravalka himself, but I think that is stone dead. I have no doubt that that's dead. There have been a few LBW decisions in this game that I think could potentially have gone the other way. This one for me is out.
So Ahmad Azam, the MVP of the minor league. Well, we need to see some of those sixes that he was able to hit. Brian, I'm going to have to strongly disagree with you there. I think he was far outside the line. Very hard to tell, as you said, with Netravalka. He's blocking us.
Yep. I made this point earlier. It sometimes can be maybe an optical illusion because where your body ends up can sometimes be different from where you're hit. And so his entire body is outside the line of off stump. But for me, he's hit directly in line with the stumps.
How can your body be outside, Brian, but your legs be inside?
No. What I mean
Do they
is
detach?
the top half of your body is falling over this way, particularly if you're moving that direction after you get hit. Because his momentum is taking him away from the stumps. But at the point where he's hit, I think he's hit in line with the stumps.
Well, let us know. You guys are watching it as well, seeing what we see. Let us know on Twitter, Major League Network, or of course on YouTube under this video. Netravalka almost. Wow. He was fingertips away from having his third and taking a big wicket of Ahmad Azam.
Yep.
But it comes back for another spell to get a wicket, and he does just that for his captain. 1, 2, 3 for 4. So 13 overs down. 1, 2, 3 for 4. Really need to get a move on. We need to see some maximums.
Here we have a look at the LBW again.
Now, if he's hit on the front foot, Brian, I'm giving it to you. He's out. If it's on the front foot. But I'm thinking he's hit on that back foot, which is outside the line.
I could not disagree with you any more strongly than I already do here, Nikhil. Look at this. Look at the release point. Looking here. Here is the ball. That ball is pitching on off stump and dancing inward. There is no way that that's hitting him outside the line. I will stake the reputation of my umpiring classes that I've taught for the last 10 years on that decision. That is out.
I don't think it's fair for me or you to make a call because we're both blinded. We're both blinded by Nachavalka, so it's very hard to see where exactly he gets hit. I'll give the benefit though to Lindo. He's a good umpire in the middle, in the heat. Move on from that though. Václav Akela back into the attack. 22 runs in his first two. Hamad Azam has shown he wants to sweep, but they do have protection in the deep for it.
So that over from Netravalkar yielded 9 runs and 1 wicket taken, and then this first few balls, first 2 deliveries of this over by Václav Akela, 3 runs. So normal service being restored if you are the USA. This one is in the air. Marshall coming around. Does good work to keep it just to 1. So saves 3 runs for his side. So the first 3 balls rather have yielded 4 runs. That's Avagela so far. 2.3 overs, none for 26. That's going to be 6.
Well, Hamad Azam, when he hits it, it stays hit. Like he's done there. And boy, Brian, do they need a lot more of that.
They need plenty more of those. I was about to say Václav Akela 2.3, 26. Make that 2.4 and 32. So a touch on the expensive side. You expect that they will go after the spinner, but what you don't want to do is to make it easy for them. And so Vagela has a little bit of thinking to do here. And you see Monank Patel sort of gesticulating in the direction of Václav Vagela, trying to entice him to not bowl that type of delivery because that length delivery is easily gotten under by the batters. And, of course, Hamad Azam, not somebody who has trouble or difficulty hitting that long ball.
Another dimension for these cricketers that they've had to deal with is that a wind.
Yep.
Just so intense, as you said, in terms of how high the levels are, would be rattling the helmets, would be pushing the ball the opposite direction from where the bowlers actually want it to be. So big factor to do with just 6 overs after this. Smith Patel, that's crafty. That is beautiful. Who's from a man who's just been an impeccable touch. Just waited on it, had to wait a while. Deposited over the keeper.
So 15 runs from that over. The score is now 138 for 4. Nikhil, whereas the wind can hurt, the wind definitely helped on this occasion because all you needed to do if you are Hamad Azam is just to get the ball going in the direction where the wind will help it. So that scoop shot from behind, just getting it behind those fielders, that one fielder backward, in fact, that third man, short third man, once it got behind him, the wind was always going to be helping to carry it toward the boundary.
But he's gone to the leg spin of Yasser Mohammed, and not only is that, he's bowling to the end with the wind. So Hamad Azam, I think, will back himself to take him on and will have an extra help as well.
I'll tell you what, everything in this passage of play lines up for a big over. Of course, anything can happen, and sometimes captains see things that we don't hear in the commentator's booth, but you would have to think that the wind would be helping to have Hamad Azam hit the ball in that direction.
Well, 76 runs to win. Starts with a very short one. Somehow, some way, he misses out.
Yeah.
But with 76 runs to win, Brian, you think if they can get it down to 60 from the last 5, that's gettable. Happens in the modern day. Pretty often they have 6 wickets in hand, a lot of power to come.
Yep.
Goes short again, just 1. Hamad Azam misses out.
It's almost as though Hamad Azam is too eager to hit that big shot. I think he played that shot about a week too early. Thick under edge running to that fielder down there at mid-wicket.
I'd
So
like the
good-
bravery, though, from Yasser Mohammed. As a young
Sure.
leg spinner, always tough with the control.
Yep.
And even after that no ball, I think he's come out really well. He'll be under pressure. Only bowled in the first game of this Houston Challenge. Goes short again. But he's getting away with this. He's got the field set.
Yes.
May want to go short. Probably better to go short than full. Hitting with the wind.
I would suggest that that's exactly the thinking. If you toss it up and give the batters a chance to get under it, then any shot that's elevated in that direction will have the assistance of the wind. Oh,
Well, again, a thick top edge. And all of a sudden, 4 deliveries have gone, and they've only got 3 runs from this over.
in the context of this game, this is a huge over. 2 more balls to go, but only 4 runs scored from it so far. And that pressure continues to build.
Well, this time he goes straight, and the wind does the rest. Goes all the way for 6. And you just felt something had to give. You couldn't get away with just 3 runs from the over thus far. Smith Patel, he's well aware of that.
That's the type of delivery that you don't want to bowl if you're in the situation. You're allowing the batter to get underneath the ball and elevate it into the wind. That is always going to help him. And cut away behind point for 4 more. So when that over started, the first 4 balls yielded 3 runs. But since then, a 6 and a 4 to close things out here in the 15th.
And it also helps you get past your required quota. Smith Patel, this 70 from 35 deliveries. We saw Stephen Taylor with a real power Jaskar Malhotra hit it to all parts. But this is a classical innings. He's just sneaked up to 70. When you look at the balls, you can't believe he's striking at 200.
Amazing. And so you mentioned a couple of deliveries ago here in the kill that you're going to have in the modern game, 60 runs in 5 overs can be done all the time. Well, they're not very far adrift from that. They now need 63 in the last 5, needing to go at the rate of 12.6 and over. With 6 wickets in hand, with these 2 batters at the crease well set, it's anybody's game at this point, because you're going to need, if you are the USA, you're going to need a couple of good overs, a couple of tight overs. And the question to be asked is whether Aaron Jones, who now has the ball bowling from the highway end, is going to be able to calm things down with his leg spinners.
Well, 2 right-handers at the crease. He's gone to Jones with his leg spin. But a very brave call for someone that hasn't bowled yet in this Houston Challenge.
Yep.
I think he can bowl. I would like to see him utilized a bit more with the ball. I think he can be more of an asset with ball in hand. Here we go. First ball. Goes very full. Good delivery in the concept of things. Can Marshall get around? He can. Just be 2 to start. But they're showing that even if they do see out the good deliveries, they're backing themselves to be able to find at least 2 boundaries every over. Well, full toss. Doesn't get enough on it. Man comes under it. Kenchige, he's not going to drop that. And Jones into the attack. Takes the wicket straight away. Crucially for the US team. That will help their chances massively.
Great piece of bowling in the sense that it was a full toss. I think that surprised Patel just a little bit. In fact, surprised Hazam, I'm sorry. And not able to make the contact that he wanted to. Very honestly, he was hitting with the wind. So I think the full toss surprised him more than anything else. Had he been expecting it, he could potentially have cashed in on it. But only succeeding in top edging, and very well judged on that occasion by Nosh Kenjige. Just prepared himself perfectly and set his body to take that catch, taking it about chest height. Huge body blow landed here for the USA.
So Marty Kane comes to the middle. A man who will know this team very well. Would have played with them, obviously. Plays for the USA national team. In that series against Ireland, made his debut. Can be the man, though, to clear the boundary. A lot of power still to come in this team. Still have Bhaskar Yadram, Charlie Van Skelvik. Carmi LaRue has shown that he can hit a few out the park as well. Smith Patel trying to reverse sweep, but smartly Monat Patel's got a fielder right there for that. Just 3 from the first 3 deliveries. Have to say, they'll be taking this, the USA team, but it's all about how they close the over. That's what's made the difference so far.
Interestingly, in the Houston Open last week, you'll remember, Nikhil, that they played with the new regulations where the new batter, if there's a catch taken, the new batter has to be the one on strike. Obviously, that's not the case here. Excuse me, because first ball after the resumption of play was faced by Smith Patel.
He's got to go back for 2. Marty Kane sends Smith Patel back, and probably wisely in the end. Mohammed's a good fielder. Could have easily been a run out.
Yep.
Not what you want at this stage.
Really good over developing here. 155 for 5. 59 runs adrift for the MLC team. And only 4 runs have been scored so far from this over. But again, to your point, Nikhil, you have to be able to close these overs out. So let's see how Aaron Jones does here. Quick single taken on the infield again. So another single. 1 ball remaining. That required rate sneaking up now, approaching 14. Marty Kane, 1 from 1, looking to go big here to the leg spinner. Tries the reverse sweep, does not make contact. So a really good over in the context of things. 5 runs and a wicket. MLC composite is 156 for 5.
So he's ringing in the changes. Monat Patel, the captain, he's gone to the seam of Saurabh Nachavalkar. And it's a big move at this stage. Because it's Nachavalkar's the last over of this contest. So they're going for the kill now. You think the thinking is if they can get the wicket now, Brian, could be curtains on this game, especially the wicket of Smith Patel. Keen battle unfolding. But instead, Patel, he wins the first ball. He gets a boundary.
Wow. Huge roll of the dice. I think you're right about the thinking. If you break this partnership, particularly if the wicket that you get is Smith Patel, then you have a stranglehold on this match. But the flip side of that coin is if you don't get the wicket or if you give up a few runs, then you've lost the advantage of having your best bowler be available for the death overs. So a big roll of the dice. I don't necessarily have a problem with the decision, but Nachavalkar now, having been put in that position, has to deliver.
Smith Patel gets 2, so already 6 from the first 2 deliveries. This Houston challenge has really produced some jaw-dropping cricket. We've had all during this week. And it ends off with a blockbuster of a finish. This T20 encounter shaping up so nicely. Down the leg side and beat Stephen Taylor in the infield. More runs. Smith Patel is single-handedly carrying the MLC team at the moment.
When you go around the wicket as a left-hander, what you're trying to do is make sure that you get the ball on the stumps. You're targeting the stumps essentially, but from that angle, when you push it that far down the leg side, then it becomes a really, really easy ball to score off of. So if you are Nachavalkar, you have to get that ball closer toward off stump. On this occasion, much too straight, and even Stephen Taylor diving there at his position at short fine leg, not able to prevent that from running away to the boundary. So going to his strike bowler here to bowl his last over here in the 17th has not worked out so far for Manak Patel.
Well, this one high in the air. And once you believe it, it lands in no man's land. When luck is on your side, it really is on your side. Brian,
Wow.
should the goal be? I mean, you've already got, what's that now?
12.
12 from the over, the first 4 deliveries. That's how much you need. So does Smith Patel now prioritize not losing his wicket, or does he continue to go for the runs?
I think you play each ball as on its merits. You don't want to make a good ball into a bad ball. And you certainly don't want to make a bad ball into a good ball by throwing the kitchen sink at it. But if the ball is there to be hit, I think you still go for it. On that occasion, like that, that was the type of delivery that any amount of bat on that would have skied it in the air, and with the wind pushing that ball back very easily could have been a wicket. So that's the type of delivery that I thought, in answer to your question, Nikhil, that you just sort of play the ball on its merits and not create a wicket opportunity for the opposition. Because had he gotten any bat on that, that would have been straight in the air into the teeth of this very stiff wind. He's just going to want to be careful here. Jeez.
That's very smart cricket.
Yep.
Excellent cricket from Smith Patel. He comes back for 2, but he makes sure, more importantly, that he's still there at the other end for the next over. End of 17, 170 for 5. They've got to score 43 runs from the last 3 overs. Won't be easy.
Wow. Buckle up, and amid all the carnage, Patel is now 84 from 41, so striking it above 200. Marty Kane only been there for a very short, check that, 86 from 43, so striking it exactly at a 200 strike rate. Marty Kane 1 from 2, and 44 runs are needed for victory. 5 wickets in hand. They're needing to go at the rate of 15, make it 14.67 and over.
And with Smith Patel there, they'll fancy themselves to be able to do that. But of course, a long game. And Aaron Jones been entrusted with this over. First one was a brilliant one. 5 runs and
left-hander.
a wicket. But Marty Kane, I think, does the right thing in this situation. Just come to the crease. Well, I thought he wanted to get Smith Patel on 2 on strike, but he comes back for 2.
A big call. It will be interesting to see whether or not Aaron Jones has the courage to toss this up to the left-hander, because if he does and the left-hander plays a big shot in the direction of mid-wicket or long on, that will be directly into the teeth of the wind, and that easily could be a wicket. But the question to be asked is, do you have the courage under these circumstances to do exactly that?
Straight up, top edge. Man comes around, will take some catching and
what a
blinder.
catch!
Yasser Mohammed somehow, someway gets to it. He had to do a lot of running, may have hurt himself in the process, but he's putting his body on the line for his team. Let's hope he's okay.
Oh, what a spectacular catch. Dead on sprint, making up maybe 15 or so yards, and I think he really is hurt. He's holding that left knee. But more importantly, in the context of this game, he makes up the yardage needed to get to that ball and takes a catch probably 6 inches off the ground. Full stretch dive. There he goes. Oh, I'll tell you, looking at that replay, his knee comes down very awkwardly. I think he may be in a little bit of trouble here. I don't think there's any doubt that he should be coming off. And we'll wait to see what his condition is. You hate sometimes to have to pivot from an injury to the impact that the situation has on the game. But in the context of the game, it is a tremendous catch.
And let me correct myself. I said it was Václav Ajkela, but it was actually Abhiram Valisamagri. So,
Wow.
both very good fielders. But you can see, again, on that catch, he wasn't even in the frame
Yep.
for a long time, Brian. And look at this. Just somehow, some way, use his pace. He is a fast bowler. And what is that stereotype they say fast bowlers can't field? Had to make a full stretch dive. Great catch, but his knee might have just stuck in the surface.
Boy, Boy, these knee injuries are never a good thing for a fast bowler. Never a good thing for anybody, but particularly not for a fast bowler. So you hope that that's just maybe a tweak. Looking at the replay, slowing it down here, we look and see it appears as though his knee gets plowed into the surface, into the grass. And we hope that that's all that it is. And he only just tweaked that knee with it plowing into the surface. It comes over awkwardly at the very end, so you really hope that there's not a more serious injury than just him plugging it into the surface. Interestingly, he got up, threw the ball in the air in celebration, and then went back down to grab his knee. So let's just hope that that means that he's going to be okay. And in fact, looking at him now, he appears to be staying on the pitch, Nikhil. So I think he's going to be all right. So going back to the impact that had on the game, that great catch. So one more wicket falls, 6 down in total. And the score is now 172 for 6.
So thank God that Abiram Valisamagri is on his feet. And Aaron Jones, what a master stroke this has been from Monat Patel. He's got his second wicket. And he's keeping Smith Patel quiet. What has he done well in this spell so far, Brian?
He's bowling very full. He's asking the batters to hit down the ground into the wind. On that occasion, Marty Kane, of course, skying that ball and not getting anywhere close to the middle of the bat. Of course, at the wicket now is Shadley Van Schalkwijk. I'm trying really hard to pronounce that properly. Haven't been able to do it just yet. But Shadley's certainly able to hit a long ball. That's exactly what his team is asking for now because they're approaching 17 runs and over needed. Tries a reverse sweep, hit on the front foot, and he is given him. So a huge wicket here. I'll be interested in hearing my co-commentator's opinion on this leg before shout. From where we are, it appeared as though he was hit directly on the boot, and I think that's in front of the stumps, Nikhil.
Easy decision in the end. It was just a full toss. Hit him on the ankle, and Van Schalkwijk, he's got a goal. Aaron Jones, 3 wickets now.
Wow.
I said it for a long time. I just wonder why they don't use him more as a leg spinning option. Can bowl, and he's showing it here. 3 wickets for 8 runs in 10 deliveries. Magnificent. This could be a game-winning spell.
No question that this is a potential game-winning spell. And we asked the question as to whether or not you could bring back Netravalkar when you did. But if you have up your sleeve the option of having Aaron Jones bowl 2 overs, 3 for 8, that certainly is a good thing to have in your back pocket as captain. So another wicket goes down, 173 for 7. And you're starting to get the sense here, Nikhil, that the steam is going out of the sails of the MLC Composite 11.
Bhaskar Yadram comes to the middle. He would have bowled at Aaron Jones. Now he's got a bat against him. And the way he's bowling, you would think, these are Rashid Khan-like figures.
Yes. Oh, goodness.
He's
What
just a
spell.
part-timer, you know, Brian, but clearly showing that he's got enough metal.
Bhaskar Yadram taking the single to get the man who is 87 from 44 back on strike. But I fear, if you're the MLC Composite 11 side, that you're leaving too much for Smith Patel to do. Only 1 ball remaining here in the 18th over.
Well, pulls out that reverse sweep again straight to the fielder. What an over this has been from Jones.
Oh, my goodness.
5 runs conceded, 2 wickets to go with it. And now, this MLC team, well, they need a miracle. 175 for 7.
Wow.
And still need a further 39 runs from the last 2. Got to score almost 20 and over from here.
Well, the pendulum certainly has swung in the direction of the USA Invitational team in the last couple of overs, courtesy of a great over on that occasion by Aaron Jones. 2 wickets taken in that last over that he bowled. He is now bowled 2 overs, taken 3 for 10. Tremendous bowling by Jones. This ball is struck down the ground. That might have gone all the way for 6. Yep, it did go all the way for 6. So Valasamagari back into the attack, and immediately Smith Patel takes him on, hitting him back over his head for 6.
So Smith Patel into the 90s and just took on that straight boundary with the win. So he's now looking. Monat Patel comes to have a chat with him. They need 20 runs and over. 6 from the first ball is the way to start.
Wow. If you are Valasamagari, what you're going to want to do is to make him hit the best Yorker. Make him try to hit the best Yorker that you can bowl. Either that, or maybe you go pace off into the surface and ask him to hit toward the wind on the leg side. But running up and bowling a half volley on the stumps is certainly not what you want to bowl to a man who is now on 94 from 46.
He goes length this time, and Smith Patel goes straight again. And even Noshas Kenjige, one of the best fielders, can't stop it. 98 for Patel. The MLC, perfect start to the over.
Wow. In the context of what Smith Patel is doing, he's going to be happy that he's 2 runs away from 100. But in the bigger context of the result of this game, he has started this over exactly the way that you would want to if you're looking to take this victory home. It feels like there's one person who was able to take this game home. 29 more runs needed for victory here for MLC. And again, Valasamagari has some thinking to do. You don't want to bowl that length, and you certainly don't want to give it to him full in the way that it was. If you're going to bowl full, it has to be all the way full. A low full toss at this stage is better than the first 2 deliveries that he's bowled. And if you can unfurl the perfect Yorker, now would be the perfect time to find it, because anything else is going to be hit by Smith Patel.
So looking at the field, he's got the deep cover, long on, long off, deep mid wicket, and of course the backward square. 2 away from 100, but he'll be thinking about the target more than that triple figure. And again, once, 2, but it'll just be 1. So hit into the onside by Smith Patel. Probably a good result for the USA Invitational 11. Brings Bhaskar Yadram on strike now. Does he get a single burn, or does he look for the boundary?
Bhaskar Yadram has one job and one job only: to get off of strike. If he can do it with a single or with a triple, he will take either one. But his objective is to get an odd number of runs right now. The objective from here is to make sure that Smith Patel faces the maximum number of deliveries the rest of the way.
When he does that, gets it in the gap. They do take the second. Got to take every run on offer at this stage. You've now got 13 runs, but remember, you need 20, so they have to find the boundary again.
Yep.
Hard for Yadram, who's now come to the crease, to be able to middle the ball, but they really have no choice at this stage, the MLC team. What a run chase this has been. What a game of cricket.
Oh, goodness. What a week of cricket. Absolutely amazing.
So 2 deliveries remaining in this over. And Yadram in the air. There is 2 fielders in the deep, and it doesn't carry. And he's coming back for 2 as well.
Wow. So 4 runs from the last 2 balls, but bearing in mind that you're looking to go around 20 runs and over, each time that you get a double, that hurts your chances. So I mentioned a couple of deliveries ago that I wanted to make sure that Smith Patel was the one on strike. If you're needing to go at more than 3 runs every ball, you're going to want to have the guy who is on 98 not out to be the one facing the majority of the strike.
Well, you've got to be able to get this to down under 20 for the last over there. Yep. 23 needed to win at the moment. And Yadram takes 1 very bravely, which means he'll retain the strike. No, he comes back for 2. And what it does mean is that they'll need 21 runs from the final over of this contest. Does he go back to Aaron Jones? He does. The leg spinner to bowl the final over. It's all unfolding here. 19 overs down, 192 for 7.
What a big call. Oh, my goodness, what a big call. 22 runs needed for victory. Aaron Jones, the man who so far has a golden arm, he's going to be asked to perform with all the marbles on the table, if that's such an expression. I think I just made one up.
I just wonder, though, did they leave themselves too much work to be done in the back end of the innings? They had periods through the middle where they were only scoring 8 runs and over, which in the end has come back to hurt him. So you look at the field now for the leg spinner. Got to get this right. Monat Patel does have 2 fielders on that square leg boundary. Sorry, on the leg side boundary, square leg and deep mid wicket. He's also got the long off, long on. Deep cover is in place as well. Smith Patel, 99. And it'll just be 1, will it? He's got to get back on straight. He can't. So great result, but it brings up 100 for Smith Patel. A true exhibition, a true display of quality batting. Doesn't even celebrate much because he wants to get the job done for his team.
A very muted celebration on that occasion, but in the context of the game, Aaron Jones would willingly concede that single to get Smith Patel off of strike. So now Bhaskar Yadram, 1 run scored, 21 remaining from 5. So this definitely is a really tall order, and Bhaskar Yadram, I think, will have to be looking for a single here.
Well, he's
bowled
bowling.
him.
Aaron Jones goes full.
Wait.
It comes off the keeper's pads, tricks us all. But regardless of the wicket or not, it's a dot delivery. That's the most important thing at this stage.
Yep.
Crucially, a dot ball. Here's Jones again. And Yadram can't clear it. Would you believe it? The leg spinners won this game for the U.S. team.
And in fact, if Aaron Jones does not bowl any extras, this game will only go in one direction.
And pulls a Yorker. And for a leg spinner to be able to fire in the ball like that, at that speed, he just has a laugh, Aaron Jones, because he knows he's done the job for his team. This has been good execution at the death from the USA Invitation 11. Short of options, the captain, Monat Patel, he's done really well. On the leg side and given. Hit on the pad, and Jones has got his 4th.
Oh, my goodness.
Just 1 delivery remaining in his spell and this innings. But what seemed close because of that man, the man with the golden arm, Aaron Jones, it's no longer close. He's done the job for his team.
Outstanding bowling here by Aaron Jones. Just the ability to land that Yorker. You asked me a couple of overs ago what he was doing successful, and I suggested it was because he was bowling so full. Well, every single delivery this over has been right in the block hole. The first one struck down the ground for a single by Smith Patel to bring up his 100, but everything else has been absolute Yorker length, landing on the popping crease, that type of length. And boy, it's sort of you miss, I hit. And just brilliant bowling here by Aaron Jones. And he's brought up, will just officially 1 delivery away from bringing up victory for his team.
So the youth are here watching the game. Final delivery, and it will just be 1 run. And what it will mean is that the USA team have ended this Houston challenge in a winning vein, quite convincingly, posting 213 on the board. And really a magnificent performance from them. Win this one by 19 runs, a convincing performance. Smith Patel with 100 from just 49 balls, but just couldn't get the job done for his team. Didn't have much support.
Lahiri Milantha chipping in with 35. And here we see the bowling. Saurabh Netravalkar, good spell. 4 overs, 2 for 33. But look at all the way down the end. Aaron Jones, 3 overs, no maidens, 12 runs conceded, and 4 big wickets. Certainly the pick of the bowlers and doing the job for his side, making sure that the USA gets over the line. In a very close match through about 18, maybe 17 overs, USA pulls away towards the end.
So here's how the wickets went down for the MLC team. Saurabh Netravalkar struck early, getting the wicket of David White. And they were just always able to pick up wickets. Shayan Surya, top-edged one off the bowling of Yasir Mohammed. He was caught, but Smith Patel was there to watch it all unfold. There from ball 1, carried his bat throughout, didn't have much help. That was Milan Kumar, stumps dismantled. And then he came the Aaron Jones show.
Aaron Jones. This one picking out Nashkin Jiga coming in off of the boundary. And then Jones again, another top edge, just Marty Kane on that occasion. A brilliant catch by Valasamagari. Hurt himself in the process, but thankfully he's fine. And then coming down towards the end again, reverse sweep right in front, I believe, of off stump. That's the end of Van Schalkwyk. And then the last delivery, bang on target. Playing across that ball was Bhaskar Yadra. I'm not able to make contact. And that is the end of the game.
What a success this day has been, but not only this day, the entire week of this Houston Challenge. A really thrilling, enthralling game of cricket to end. The U.S. Invitational 11 getting to 213. The MLC team in replay, just 194, coming up short by 19 runs. Brian, it's been a pleasure to be alongside you. It's been a pleasure to be at this Houston Challenge. Let's hope this festival of cricket can remain and continue year after year. Thank you to all who joined us over the week at the MLC Network. We do hope to see you again very soon. Do continue to support the MLC and, of course, USA Cricket. See you soon and be safe.